Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Joining me over here, fresh off of canceling 4 shows earlier today, Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
It's tough to swing that axe, but I felt the power. John.
Whoa.
I didn't cancel any shows.
Also sitting right beside him, the girl who canceled Pokemon, it's Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing?
Never.
What would Snorlax do?
What would the Snorlax do?
I don't think you understand how that hurt me on a cellular level. Oh my God.
She was not ready for that. She's not ready. Also sitting over here, one Ray Ora joining you guys in the live chat here today. Ray, how you doing?
Yeah. Let's go, Conor McGregor.
There's a reason he said that. Sitting beside him, of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Boyega. Jonathan, how you doing?
Good morning, everybody.
And it is great to have you guys here, the most important people joining us here in our little conclave. And we are awfully glad that you decided to spend part of your day here with us. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it into 2 parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. And again, I have no idea what you could possibly ask about today. If you want to get a live comment or question that we read on the show, there's a couple things you got to know. Number 1, you got to be watching live. Number 2, when we get to the end of the main topics, we will announce that we're opening up the super chats. And once we do, that is your cue to start firing in your thoughts, observations, theories, questions, whatever, for us to read. Remember, though, we only leave the super chats open for a couple of minutes, so you have to get them in fairly quickly. Okay, guys, got a lot of stuff to cover here today, so let's not waste any time and dive into it. We're going to start off here with an off the top, and the first one is this. You guys might remember that yesterday they announced that the long gestating, several times attempted Roadhouse reboot, remember they were going to do it with Ronda Rousey in the lead role? It is actually happening. Jake Gyllenhaal is going to star in it, and he's going to be starring as a former UFC fighter turned bouncer in a little club. So a little bit of a deviation there from Roadhouse, but it makes good sense. Well, now to follow up on that, we've got some more casting news in the vein of UFC and everything. Conor McGregor, the former 2-time UFC champion, they've announced on deadline, is indeed going to be joining the movie right now. Now, one of the things that the article does kind of specify is that, number 1, he's playing a new character, so he's not playing himself, which honestly was the first thought that came to my mind. Well, if Gyllenhaal's playing a former UFC fighter, maybe Conor McGregor is playing himself, but they're not doing that. Here's the other interesting thing about that. By saying that he's going to be playing a wholly original character, it kind of broke my other theory, which was I came out and told Ray and Jonathan this morning. I said, I bet he's playing the guy that says, I used to F guys like you in prison. I said, I bet he's playing that guy. But apparently not. This is an original character and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I can't see Conor McGregor saying that.
I mean, maybe in his own unique way. Maybe in his own way. With proper number 12. He'll come walking up with proper number 12. Say, hey, anyway, Rob, you hear about this? I mean, listen, I am still excited about this. And I think as long as you and McGregor, because you know me, I don't like non-actors
Conor
getting...
McGregor.
I've done that for years.
Star Wars on the brain,
That
John.
would be... I've been saying, every time I try to refer to Conor McGregor, I always say you McGregor. I am not big on non-actors taking big acting roles. But if this is one of those things where he's going to have a couple of lines, but mostly used for action and things like that, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think it could work well. Anyway, and maybe even add a little bit of verisimilitude to it, as you would say.
Oh, I see what you did there.
So what do you think about this move?
Well, if they've indicated that Jake Gyllenhaal's character is a former UFC fighter, it makes sense because they can bring that milieu in. And once his former adversaries find out he's the bouncer at a bar, there's great opportunity for humiliation. Oh, here you are, like you're a bouncer in a bar. And so they all
That's
flock
just
to
Conor
that
McGregor,
bar to start some static.
That's how all UFC
With
fighters talk, too. Oh, well, we meet again.
Come on, man, put up your nukes.
Sometimes the voices don't come out the way I mean them to.
Oh, we meet again.
Sometimes, but no, I mean, I think that
Yes, I think you're a fighter.
sometimes, look, I mean, he doesn't speak that way clearly.
No,
But I mean,
Hey.
to be honest, John, to be honest, I was wondering, like, what kind of a bar in this day and age would it
Right,
be?
right.
Would it be like, where would you get the static?
Helium
and
bar,
perhaps
apparently.
it is. There are military bars, there are fireman bars, there are cop bars. Maybe there's a UFC bar that older and newer fighters congregate in, which means there is
That's
potential.
a pretty small clientele.
Yeah, that's a very violent bar.
You train at a UFC gym.
Yes.
Well,
But there's not a UFC gym
there's-
only for UFC fighters.
There's
I wouldn't
also
be allowed
no bar
in there.
that's good there. I've looked. I mean, there is the Lazy Dog, and they have a beer club.
Well,
but I don't
yeah.
think that they don't laugh. They do. I belong.
I know. I know.
So it makes sense to me. What I want to say is, to make this segment not go long, I think
Too
that
late.
this is a good idea because it gives somebody, it creates a formidable adversary for Jake Gyllenhaal to combat.
Or at least one of them. Yeah.
One of them, yes.
Chris, you hear about this? What do you think about the move?
I mean, I don't know anything about this man, so I can't make a judgment call here, but I do want to pose a question to you because, he's playing a UFC fighter, obviously, so he has that experience,
Doesn't speak
but he
that way.
doesn't have any acting experience. Now, Bad Bunny, you on this show talked about how you weren't sure about having him in Bullet Train or having him in
Well,
the
no,
Marvel.
Bullet Train was one thing because it's a smaller role, whatever. I'm a little bit concerned about him taking
Okay.
on the lead role of a movie when he's not
But
an
he
actor.
did have WrestleMania experience, my man, and
Well,
he'd done some
sure.
telenovelas, I believe, too. So I'm just wondering, too, is the fighting background enough for a role of this size? Do you think he'll bring the acting chops? Like, I haven't seen him ever or heard him speak.
In mathematical terms, there's a variable there.
Hmm.
The size of the role.
Okay.
We don't know what that is, right?
fair.
So like if it's a role, like I was saying to Rob earlier, if it's like 2 or 3 lines, maybe four lines, and they're snarky little lines, because few people can deliver snarky lines like Conor McGregor.
Oh, awesome.
One of
Okay.
the greatest UFC press conferences ever was they lined up a fight. It was going to be one of his first title shots, and it was against a champion who he never actually ended up fighting. But when they were saying, Conor McGregor goes, "This is the biggest day of your life," because he saw himself as the biggest star in the thing. "You called your wife when you found out this fight was happening and said, 'Honey, it's red panty night. I get to fight Conor McGregor.'" Like he is. I don't like Conor McGregor. I don't like Conor McGregor. But the dude is the king of the zingers.
I like Conor McGregor.
He's really the king of the zingers. So if you give him just a couple of zingers and then just let him physically do what he's going to do, which
Okay.
will bring a good sense of realism to it because it's actually him, the guy can actually do it, then that could be. Or yeah, somebody is reminding me in the live chat, one of his best things is people say a line about him. He says, "Who the fuck is that guy?" Like that was just his biggest diss.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
we're seeing this a lot, even in like WWE. We're seeing a lot of MMA stuff in the choreography now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you feel about that? I actually like it because it brings a new aspect to fight. Like John Wick started adding a lot of those arm bars and his fight stuff.
Well, I mean, John Wick, even when you look at Black Panther, I mean, T'Challa, I believe, if I'm remembering it right, T'Challa ended his fight with M'Baku in Black Panther with a triangle choke.
right.
I mean, right? Like, so that is that's what society sees as combat now.
Right.
So it makes sense that movies, TV shows, sports entertainment is starting to implement all that kind of stuff in there. So that kind of makes more sense. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Conor McGregor has joined Jake Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse remake. Again, if the role is small, keep his lines simple. This could be really good if they try to make him the second lead. It could be an unmitigated disaster. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's do another off the top here. And that one is this. You know, since it launched not terribly long ago, Disney Plus had a strategy, it appeared, to release their premium shows. We're talking shows, WandaVision, Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, Ms. Marvel, things like that. They had a tendency, and they have had a tendency of releasing their shows on Wednesdays, or to us in Los Angeles, Tuesdays at midnight, or Wednesdays for people around the world. That's when they drop their premium shows. And they never overlapped until Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan came out. And for the first time ever, you had 2 Disney Plus premium shows coming out at the same time. Tuesdays at midnight, Wednesdays for most other people. That's when they were dropped. And we were heading for the exact same thing, right up until we were actually had a scheduling meeting here yesterday talking about, when She-Hulk coming out, when we're going to do these after shows, blah, blah. And She-Hulk, again, was going to come out Tuesdays at midnight or Wednesdays. Andor, which is coming out at the end of September, but would also be releasing Tuesdays at midnight or Wednesdays. And so there were going to be several weeks of overlap where an episode of She-Hulk and Andor were going to be releasing at the same time. Well, this morning I got an email from Disney PR to announce just a small shift. She-Hulk, instead of launching on August 18th, which is a Wednesday, which means to us Tuesday at midnight, they've moved it one day to the 18th. Now, on the surface, that looks like a very, very small change. Oh, they bumped it one day. But this is actually a very interesting development because it signals a complete change in philosophy at Disney Plus. No longer is it just automatic that Disney Plus's premium shows are going to drop Tuesdays at midnights or Wednesdays for other people around the country. This is a shift. This is a major shift, actually. So now, wrap your heads around this. For at least a couple of weeks, we are going to have on Wednesdays Andor, Thursdays She-Hulk, Fridays Lord of the Rings, Sundays Game of Thrones.
Woo-hoo.
That's your TV week, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't bad. With no overlap,
week.
because we were set up for Andor and She-Hulk to have some overlap. So while it's only a one-day push, this does represent something. And, Rob, I cannot help but wonder if they looked at what happened with Obi-Wan and Ms. Marvel and figured this didn't work out. We thought maybe having them released on the same night might, create a feedback loop and get, energy and motion. Actually, it kind of hurt. We were cannibalizing our own audience. They made the move. But number one, what do you think about the move of She-Hulk going from Wednesdays or Tuesdays at midnight to now Thursdays? And do you think the Obi-Wan Ms. Marvel experiment had anything to do with it?
Well, first of all, it never made sense to me that you don't have primetime programming all week long. You've got like one or two shows. And if you have two shows for Disney Plus, it's like, look, we have two shows. It's the same voice.
They're the
different.
they're the
UFC
UFC
voice.
fighters.
So
man.
that was for you, Chris.
Thanks.
No, but I think that finally somebody like smartened up and said, we have two different shows. Why not space them out? I mean, if for no other reason than to goose our like ratings, what do you call it? Whatever the analytics are. Why would you put your two best shows on the same night? Like, let them be on different nights so we can have more excitement through the week. So it makes sense to me. Like, look, I don't understand why they're butted up against each other. Why is it one on Tuesdays and the other's on Thursdays? Make your week exciting and new, like the Love Boat. I mean, why not do that? I mean, it's
Wow, that's a throwback reference.
People are like, what is
people
that?
like, what's the Love Boat? But I don't even know why I said that. This morning's not doing well for me. My referenes are off.
Is that a
not on point.
B-52 song?
Yeah. Wow. But in all seriousness, I mean, why have two great shows drop at the same time when you're trying to goose your ratings, goose your subscribers, show different analytics throughout the week? First of all, I love it. Don't you? I mean,
I honestly do.
We
Yeah.
don't have to have two, like it's like, do we stay up till 2 a.m? What do we do?
Well, again,
Absolutely
because
not.
us on the West Coast, that's what we do. Like they come out, we stay up till midnight, we watch the new show. But when they were playing Obi-Wan and Ms. Marvel, be like, watch one, okay. Pop another Red Bull in and play the next one. Oh, it's all right. Going to bed at 2:30. Just got to get up at 5. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It just
supposed to be
seems like
nice.
it was a weird strategy. I think it probably has to do with both. I mean, somebody probably thought, oh, wait a minute. I bet there was like two teams, and like the engineers at Disney Plus were like, you guys are putting these shows out on the same time, and I bet they didn't know. I bet someone said, why don't we give our shows time to breathe?
Chris, you hear about this? Good move, bad move, and do you think the Obi-Wan Ms. Marvel experiment had anything to do with the decision?
I think it probably did. I think that had a lot to do with people tuning in or not to Ms. Marvel, despite all the critical acclaim surrounding that show. Because you did have to make a choice ultimately, typically, right? If you have to go to work the next day, am I going to wait around and watch one of these shows, wait to watch the other one the next day? Am I watching it at all? I know for me, it was, okay, well, we're watching Obi-Wan at midnight and Ms. Marvel at 5 a.m. Woo, let's go. I mean, I think this is great. They're still experimenting over at Disney Plus. They're
Yeah.
still trying to find their groove with all these shows and their releases. Heck, they're still trying to figure out how many friggin' episodes they all should have.
Yeah.
My only issue right now is August 18th is a sacred day. That's my baby brother's birthday. He turns 30 on
Wow.
August 18th. And I already
You
got
mean your
my...
older brother?
What?
You mean your older
my
brother?
older brother.
Yeah.
If you
Because
saw him
I
next
don't
to...
believe you that 30 would be your younger brother.
Oh, you sweet man. Oh my gosh. Hayden looks like he's like 22. Son of a bitch, man. Got the good teeth too, man. But so on August 18th, that's kind of more of my priority.
All right, guys, questions for you. What do you think about this? I mean, it's only a one-day move, but I think it marks a significant shift in philosophy over there. Whatever you guys think about that, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, we'll move into our main topics here, but before we do, we want to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's shows, our friends over at Peacock and their great new show, The Resort. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Peacock's new series, The Resort. In Peacock's must-see new series, there's more than just trouble in paradise. There's a flip phone, a disappearance, and a suspiciously timed hurricane. The Resort, a new Peacock original from the creators of Palm Springs and Mr. Robot, is an unexpected exploration of how love, marriage, and family can be a real trip. When a couple finds an old flip phone in the jungle on an anniversary getaway, they are unknowingly pulled into an unsolved mystery, a bizarre case that went cold 15 years prior when a once-in-a-century storm wiped away all the evidence. This journey through the Mayan Riviera will take you from the edge of your seat to the depths of human experience and back again. Starring William Jackson Harper, Kristen Milioti, Luis Gerardo Mendez, and Nick Offerman, The Resort is streaming now only on Peacock. And a big thank you to our friends at Peacock and their new show, The Resort, for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics? Well, that's where we need you. You see, you guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This first one comes from Jeff Bingham. Bullet Train from director David Leitch has been fairly anticipated amongst us fans looking for a solid action flick. Reviews have come out and are decidedly mixed. As of this writing, the rating on Rotten Tomatoes currently sits at 58% with 59 reviews, which will certainly change by the time you read this. As someone who is looking forward to this film, what are your expectations now?
All right, well, thanks a lot for writing that in, Jeff. As of this moment, it's at 60%, but that still qualifies as fairly mixed. I don't have expectations for the film anymore. I saw it. I actually went to go see the movie last night. I've been very excited for this film. They showed us the first preview for it a year and a half ago at CinemaCon. It was great. A few months ago, they showed us like the first 18 minutes. We all loved what we saw. Now, the question I had going into it was, they showed us the first 30 minutes of Lightyear. And the first 30 minutes of Lightyear is Academy Award worthy. And the second two acts did not live up to the first 30 minutes. So my question became, is this going to be one of those things where the first 18 minutes were the best 18 minutes and the rest wasn't? And my overall thoughts are this. I enjoyed it. I like this film. I call it Guy Ritchie light. Because if you're familiar with Guy Ritchie films such as Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or Snatch, one of my top 20 all-time favorite films, by the way, the style influence here of Guy Ritchie on this film is inescapable and undeniable. Like, this is absolutely kind of influenced by and inspired by the Guy Ritchie stuff. But it's not quite as good as Guy Ritchie stuff. It's not quite as clever as those Guy Ritchie films. It's not quite as connected as those Guy Ritchie films. It's a Guy Ritchie light movie. That being said, it is quite enjoyable. Like, the motion is just frantic. It's always this constant motion when the dialogue was going on, very much Guy Ritchie snatched Lock, Stock kind of dialogue, especially with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Hill. Like, they're two characters that they refer to as the twins. They call themselves the twins. And their banter back and forth with each other is just gold. The supporting cast in it is wonderful. Tons of cameos. Like tons of cameos. I came in the studio and said, like, everybody's in this movie. So there's a lot of cameos that are peppered throughout the film. They all connect there. And then as the movie progresses, it gets a little overly ambitious that they try to work in this kind of big mythology with this character called the White Death and stuff like that. So it starts to get, I think it starts to reach a little beyond its borders a little bit. The third act does start to weigh down it feels like it's a little bit drawn out by the time you get into the third act. That might have something to do with the same feelings I had about Elvis, because Elvis has got this frantic pacing and editing, and it's really engaging. But as the film starts to get too long, that frantic energy and whatever, it starts to become cumbersome. You know what I mean? And so there's that happens. But I got to say this too. There's something that happens in the movie where I went, well, that's awfully convenient and coincidental. That's dumb. But you got to stick around for the mid-credit scene because then the mid-credit scene happens. You're like, oh, now that makes perfect sense. So, like I said, the performances were great. Aaron Taylor, Brad Pitt is fabulous in this kind of role. He's just really, really great in this kind of role. So yeah, is it overly intelligent? No. Is it a super well laid out narrative? No. Is it as quippy and clever as like those Guy Ritchie films? No. Is this going to end up in the top 10 films of the year? No. But Ann and I, just for running out on a Tuesday night, watch a movie and having a good time, for me, I think the answer is yes. I had a decidedly good time watching this. So not going to be one of the great of the years, but not as good as I was hoping. Not as good as I was hoping, but still good. And enjoyable. So anyway, that's my take on. Where's your guys' expectations for this right now?
I'm hyped. I'm seeing it with the writer on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I'm super, super excited about this. This was so fun at CinemaCon to see the first 15 minutes. This is my kind of movie too. I love this kind of stuff that has that kind of snatch vibe to it, right? I'm really, really excited. And I think everything we've seen is really fun. I love how vibrant it is. I love how wacky it is. I'm not expecting to leave this theater changed on a spiritual level. I'm expecting to see more of those awesome, awesome gory moments we saw, death counts and things like that. I want that.
By the way, I keep talking about Tyreek Hill, so I say Brian Tyree Hill. It's Brian Tyree Henry. So forgive me, let me just correct myself on that. Actually, yesterday, I think in my Out of the Theater review, I actually said Brian Tyreek Hill. I think I actually said that during my Out of the Theater review. Anyway, Rob, where's your expectation?
Well, look, not as somebody who is a great fan of B movies, action, cinema, whatever, I look at this film and I don't think that it's supposed to be a prestige movie. I don't think it's going to win Oscars. Maybe it will, but it looks to me to be exactly what it's supposed to be.
By the way, look at that image.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, this is some.
Once
stuff
he shows up in the movie, business picks up.
yeah, I mean, I look at this and from what you're saying to me, it's right up my alley. So I'm definitely going to go see this. I want to see it. It looks that it's going to deliver what I've wanted from it. So now, it's funny. I was watching. No, I hope this doesn't, offend you. I did watch Jeremy John's review of this movie. Want to see what he thought. He said,
I watched Jeremy's review.
I know. I just, I didn't want to announce someone else's show. We're the John Campea Show. But what I did like is that you just said what he said, which was if they made a movie about the twins.
Oh,
would you go see it?
I would watch that. Yeah.
Do you think that they could? Like, could they be a shared bullet train universe where they might make a sequel?
I can't.
Oh, right.
I can't answer that.
Right. Okay.
Yes, I can't.
Maybe
I
a
can't
prequel?
answer that. I can't answer that.
Just keep
So,
asking, Rob.
I'm not going to say anything about it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Where's your expectation level been for Bullet Train? I was super hyped about it. And you know what? While it did not live up to my expectations, I still had a good time at it. And I think a lot of you guys will too. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This comes from Aaron H. I read an interview with John Boyega where he was asked about the occasional rumors that pop up suggesting he could join the MCU at some point. He basically said he wasn't interested in doing that because they don't make the kind of movies he wants to. Do you even think he was actually offered anything, or is he just speaking in generalities? Also, what do you think about his comments? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending this in. And I got a surprising number of emails from people asking about this. And honestly, this is one of those situations to me that I think is kind of a much ado about nothing sort of thing. So I get it. We are accustomed to when a reporter or an interviewer asks an actor, would you like to be in a Star Wars movie? Or would you like to be in a Harry Potter movie? Or would you like to be in a Marvel movie? The answer is supposed to be, oh, I've always dreamed about being a thing. Oh, that would be a wonderful experience if I ever got the shot to. I mean, just a very, your diplomatic answer, right? Well, John Boyega, there had been a bunch of rumors going around that, John Boyega was in negotiations to be in this or be in that or to be in the MCU, something nebulous, like just be in the MCU, as if studios hire actors. We're going to hire you just to be in one of our movies. We don't know which role. We just want you in the MCU. Like, that doesn't happen. But there have been a number of those rumors going around. And so somebody asked him about it, and he said the following. This is what John Boyega said. He said this: that's not in the vision for me right now. I want to do nuanced things. I want to donate my services to original indie films that come with new, fresh ideas, because I know it's really hard to top Iron Man in that universe. I will say this. I don't personally think, in principle, John Boyega getting asked, hey, would you want to be in a Marvel movie, and saying, that's not really for me right now. There's nothing wrong with that sentiment. Nothing wrong with that sentiment at all. However, I do think he maybe could have chose his words a little bit better, because he came across, and I don't think he meant to do this. So listen, a microphone is put in your face, you're asked a sudden question, you give an off the top of your head answer, and then all of us, we all treat it like they sat down and thought about that for 16 hours and blah. And maybe he just worded it wrong. But I will say, yeah, it came across as a little bit snooty. Like, I'm such a great actor. I do these types of things. And it's like, okay, came across the way. But honestly, I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt. Again, a microphone just put in your face. You get asked a question. You answer off the top of your head. And listen, I say things off the top of my head all the time that a little bit later I go, I wish I had said this a little bit differently or whatever. I don't think it's any different from actors. So honestly, to me, it's a non-story. John Boyega is a great actor, and I enjoy watching him. How good does he look in The Woman King? So I'm looking forward to seeing him in that. So yeah, again, I think it's much ado about nothing. Chris, you read the comments. What stood out to you?
Oh man, how many times have I had said something and gone, I shouldn't have said that. Why did that come out of my mouth? I mean, I thought that he handled this well, personally. I think it was how most people should address comic book movies when that's not really on their radar, right? Instead of being like, it's a trash film that I don't want to do. Hey, Iron Man was a really great film that I wish I could have been in that one. I don't know. I'd have to have that kind of caliber for me to be in there. I think that totally makes sense to me, because that seems like the route he's on now is proving his acting chops, right? If you guys have seen that trailer for Breaking,
yeah.
He looks great in that, and he is front and center at the drama of that. I think that's what he's focused on.
That's, of course,
right
a
now.
remake of the 1980s breakdancing movie, by the way.
Oh, clearly.
And I think he's
from
already
the
signed
trailer.
up for Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, the remake as well. Yes.
It looks so good. I'm so excited about it. But I just feel like this is one of those things where it became a clickbaity title, and we're all just going to assume he said something without reading the article, like we're doing here.
Rob, when he says something like, well, you can't top Iron Man, is that a slight jab at Marvel saying you already peaked a long time ago? Or is it really just him trying to be
No, I
complimentary?
honestly don't think so. Lest we forget, I mean, John Boyega was in the biggest franchise of all time.
Yeah.
And he was not well served by it. And as an actor, I mean, you brought up Breaking. That trailer is amazing. And his performance, for those of you who don't know, it's a bank siege movie. He goes into a bank. He threatens to rob it. I think something more is going on. And it turns into like a very Dog Day Afternoon scenario, if you haven't seen that movie with John Cazale and Al Pacino. I don't think John Boyega is going to go near a franchise property, maybe ever again, because he was not well served by it. It did nothing for him. And he was somebody he's an incredible actor. And I think the trailer alone, 2 minutes of Breaking, you're like, oh my God, that performance in the trailer is Academy Award worthy. And I think he's a very exciting actor. I think he needs to find material that serves him well. He's already done his franchise bit. Same with, I was surprised to see Jane Foster show up in Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm like, even Taika Waititi said, you were in Star Wars? That pretty much says it all. So John Boyega, I would imagine, is not going to be joining the MCU anytime soon, and I don't blame him. I mean, even that trailer, my God, that is some exciting material for an actor, and that was only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we film fans sometimes take individual comments made that were done in the spur of the moment, off the top of the head, that didn't have a chance to prepare it and whatever, and we make something bigger out of it than it really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, John, I mean, I think his comment is like what he was saying is Iron Man's iconic.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone's Robert Downey Jr. and not everyone gets to do this iconic role that is now cemented into pop culture. And I don't think he was saying he doesn't want to do a Marvel Cinematic Universe film. I think he was saying that as an actor, like what I want to do is I want to create great indelible roles. Not that there's anything wrong with the MCU, but not everyone, even in the MCU, is Robert Downey Jr. And I think that's a good point to
For
make.
sure. And you look at how people are reacting to Phase 4. A lot of these same people, I think, if you do a Venn diagram of who's saying, ooh, John Boyega spoke out of turn, and hey, Phase 4 kind of blows, I feel like we're going to have a couple people overlapping there. Okay, well, if you don't think the films are quality, why do you think other actors should want to jump in here right now? I think that's something to explore as well.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Honestly, I think it's much ado about nothing, but maybe you think there's more to it. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, we're going to take another second and thank another sponsor of today's show. I've used them a lot over the years. They are fantastic. The good folks over at Storyblocks. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks. Guys, I have been an enthusiastic fan and user of Storyblocks for years. I go to them whenever I'm in need of content creation assets like royalty-free music, video clips, or templates for my creative projects, ranging anywhere from little editorial videos to my very own full-feature documentary. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories, videos, and projects to life without sacrifices due to time, budget, or access to resources. They have over 1 million different story assets ranging from stock videos, audio and music, an in-browser video editor, and they feature pre-designed templates, animations, and outros. Storyblocks uses an affordable subscription model, and their unlimited access plans offers, well, unlimited video and audio downloads rather than a costly pay-per-clip model. With Storyblocks, you'll be able to create more content and, more importantly, better content, all while using a subscription plan that fits your budget, utilizing unlimited downloads of demand-driven and diverse content. So if you're interested in upping your content creation game, head over to www.storyblocks.com/Campea and get started today. That's www.storyblocks.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Storyblocks for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get into our third and final main topic here today, shall we? Chris, what possibly could be our third main topic today?
This comes from Kylo Ken. John, the axe of Zaslav is at it again. According to Variety, WBD has decided to kill the Batgirl movie. Apparently, the film was a project that was under the old regimen, and the new powers that be at WB didn't feel that the film was big enough to be worthy of a theatrical run yet. Oh, yet at the same time, it was too expensive to put it onto HBO Max. Therefore, they're just going to have a tax write-off on it and scrap the film. How do you feel about Zaslav taking the axe to such a high-profile project? Are there any film series he won't take his axe to? Can't wait to hear your thoughts. As always, bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And of course, yesterday,
Wow.
shockwaves across the fandom and entertainment industry.
We didn't believe it.
No, yeah, at first it's like, well, wait a minute, there's a report. Of course, it first came out in a report in the New York Post.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, so Warner Brothers hasn't officially commented on this and blah, 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 and what's going on.
I
And,
read it before I went to lunch. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
yep, but as the news started to trickle in, it's like, nope, that's what happened. They canceled a film that was already made. Granted, not 100% complete, but it was already shot. Good enough that they had done some test screenings. And they literally just stepped on the pedal, lifted the lid to the can, and dropped it in the trash and said, this is gone. And I'm going to say something that no one is going to agree with, but I'm right. It's real leadership. This is something Warner Brothers has not had in a long time. Real leadership that is willing to make tough, financially difficult decisions and not be short-sighted, but rather decisions based on the idea is what is for the long-term benefit of our properties and our brand and our fan communities. What is best for us long-term? And I'll explain why I think this was, while I'm very shocked I'm incredibly shocked by the move because, I'm very pragmatic. I'm the type of guy who says, well, drop it in theaters, make your 40 million bucks. So at least then you got 40 million more dollars than you do before. I've said that many times. And that's my first thought, right? But what if it ends up costing you more to do that? And we'll talk about that in a second. So let's start with this. Let's jump over to Campea Classroom for a second, because we're going to look at a couple of comments and quotes that came out. And like we said, the New York Post was the first one to kind of come out and break this news. And this is what they said. There were test screenings, and those tests were said to be so poorly received by moviegoers that the studio decided to cut its losses and run for the sake of the brand's future. Listen to that line again. They decided to cut their losses and run, not for the sake of not getting embarrassed with this movie, but for the sake of the brand's future. We'll talk about that more in a second. It is a DC disaster. They think, their source told them, they think the unspeakable Batgirl is going to be irredeemable, the source said. And that again comes to us from the New York Post. Now, they're not the only ones. They're not the only ones. Because the folks at Collider, who I have a little bit of experience with, they said the following. They said, let's scroll that down a bit, Jonathan. They said, this is from Collider. Spoke to people that saw Batgirl, and they said it was a, quote, huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. Also, that the costumes look cheap, especially Michael Keaton's, which is surprising to me because we saw Michael Keaton's costume in The Flash, or in the supposed alleged Flash movie, and it actually looked pretty good. But again, Collider is saying, we spoke to people that saw the Batgirl, and they said it was a huge disappointment. Also, that the costumes look cheap, especially Michael Keaton's Batman costume. And we all kind of commented on Leslie Grace's costume, looked a little weird, but we just assumed it would change. Most of us assumed they would change the costumes through the movie, especially Michael Keaton's costume. I figured Warner Brothers would just dump it on HBO Max, but it looks like we will never see it. Also, it didn't stop there. Former editor at The Hollywood Reporter said the following. They said, the word for a while with insiders was that the film Batgirl was beyond salvageable. The question of it, the question is, would it do more harm than good to the brand if we released the film? Several times had been raised. That several times the question became, this thing is so bad, is if we release this thing, is it just going to do more harm to our DC brand than good overall by releasing it? I myself decided to reach out to a Warner Brothers source yesterday. Our staff here in the office know who it is. We won't say. And the source I spoke to, I simply sent them a quick message. Quick message. Remember, I haven't seen the movie. I just sent a quick message that says, ouch. It said, is it really that bad? To which the person in question wrote back, and simple little reply, it's really that bad. As a matter of fact, pretty much across the board, most people I've spoken to and whatever said that the movie was in really, really rough shape. Now, the best, most glowing review of Batgirl, the most positive thing I found of anybody who talks about having seen it and whatever comes from Deadline. And Deadline wrote the following. There's been met speculation on why Batgirl was canceled, having to do with it being a bad movie. Our sources said that the film tested once and the results weren't that bad. The most glowing, positive thing out of my sources, other outlets, New York Post, other places like this, the most positive, glowing thing that was said about it was not that bad. That's the most positive one out there. But I wanted to make sure we at least highlighted that and mentioned what had been said here. So the first thing I want us to put in mind, there's three main points I want to put on the shelf, okay? Point number one, from all intents, purposes, and everything we're hearing, is that the movie was a disaster. Now, I have been excited for this movie. I was over the moon when they announced Leslie Grace was going to play Batgirl. After what I saw her do in The Heights, when they announced her, I'm like, boom, I cannot wait to see what this girl does with this role. So you know me, I've been very excited for this movie, but I had not seen it. And again, I cannot sit here and definitively say that this movie was terrible because I myself have not seen it. I am simply going on all the various things that I've heard from my own personal sources, from other outlets in the industry, and from the major trades that are writing certain things about it. So first thing on the shelf is this. The movie apparently was a disaster. Okay? That's the first thing up there. So in asking the question about why would Warner Brothers just straight up cancel this thing, first thing on the shelf is it looked like it was a disaster. But also the second thing I want to put up on the shelf is that this represents a complete rejection of the former Warner Brothers CEO's Jason Kilar's philosophy of HBO first. Remember, it was Jason Kilar who made the monumental, historically idiotic decision to take an entire year's worth of films and just dump them all on HBO. It broke all their relationships with other production companies, with management, with talent, all that kind of stuff. They violated several agreements. They had to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in makeup money and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, financially, it nearly killed them. So David Zaslav coming in and now taking over, he has a completely different philosophy. And this represents a complete rejection of that because he said this. He said, there has been, this comes to us from Deadline, there's been much speculation in the Batgirl. Oh, wait a second. That was the wrong one. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. The bounce below.
There we go.
Another
Sorry.
page.
There are several threads here, wrote Deadline, but the moves amount to an emphatic rejection of the Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar's strategy to make original $70 million live action and animated films directly for the streaming site. And as you read through a lot of the other trades, they're also kind of affirming that this is basically David Zaslav saying, yeah, the last owners here were idiots. The last owners here greenlit a Wonder Twins movie and spent money on developing a fucking Wonder Twins movie. And they took care of that right quick. They said, no. And everybody goes, oh, wow, why does the general audience see DC movies as second-class citizens to Marvel? I don't know. You had morons greenlighting a fucking Wonder Twins movie.
Form of toilet bowl water.
Yes. And Zaslav has said, no. The way they ran business before I came in is not going to be tolerated here. This is not the way we are going to do business. They have been running us into the ground. And we are not going to allow these properties, these classic, celebrated, iconic properties to be treated like the trash the previous owners treated it like. So first things first. Oh yeah, we shut that Wonder Twins shit down right quick. But they hadn't spent $70 million, $80 million, $90 million as the Batgirl budget ballooned and ballooned. They hadn't spent that money on Wonder Twins.
Because of reshoots, trying to fix something that was already broken.
Trying to fix something that was already broken. And there were some other problems too. But, you know, they had spent money on Wonder Twins, just getting that all put together, but they hadn't shot the movie yet. So that was an easy fix. Easy fix. Just kill it. And what did we all say when they killed it? We all celebrated it. We were all like, oh, thank God, somebody over there now has some common sense. So they canceled it. So this kind of represents an absolute rejection of the strategy that the previous ownership at Warner Brothers had. So that's number one thing on the shelf is apparently the movie was a disaster. Number two thing up on the shelf was this is an emphatic rejection of the previous philosophy that the Warner Brothers people brought that were in danger of running everything into the ground. The third prong on this trident, and get my Aquaman reference there. The third prong on this trident, besides the fact apparently the movie was terrible, that this is a rejection of the previous philosophy of how they approach movies, was that they saw that the only possible way they could financially recoup any of their losses was by not putting out in theater. They thought they had a better chance of recouping their losses simply by throwing the movie out and getting the tax benefits from it. Now, I'm going to read this at length. It's a little bit long, but follow along with me here, okay? This comes to us from Variety, who wrote a little bit at length about this. But again, I think it's worth reading because it's quite interesting, okay? It starts with this. Several sources note that Batgirl was under a different regime at Warner Brothers, headed by Jason Kilar and Sarnoff, who we have some other things to say about a little bit later. But that was singularly focused on building its streaming service, HBO Max. That effort included Kilar's infamous decision is a kind way to put it, infamous decision to release the studio's entire 2021 theatrical slate simultaneously on the streamer, which helped build the subscriber base, but also jeopardized the studio's reputation. Let's scroll that down a bit, Jonathan. Also jeopardized the studio's reputation with top-tier talent, though many agents and stars privately came to appreciate the move when the company paid generous bonuses as make nice. Cost the studio, literally with all the bonuses they had to pay out, hundreds of millions of dollars. Batgirl found itself on the bad end of that decision, apparently neither good enough to feel worthy of a major theatrical release, nor small enough to make economic sense in an increasingly cutthroat streaming landscape. Let me read that part again. Neither good enough for a major theatrical release, nor small enough to make economic sense in an increasingly cutthroat streaming landscape. Spending the money to expand the scope of Batgirl for theaters. Let me try this again. Spending the money to expand the scope of Batgirl for theaters, plus the 20 million to 50 million needed to market it domestically, and the tens of millions more needed for a global rollout, could have nearly doubled spending on the film. And insiders say that was a non-starter at the company's newly focused on belt tightening and the bottom line. Releasing the movie on HBO Max would seem to be the most obvious solution. Instead, the company had shelved Batgirl along with Scoob, the sequel, and several sources say it will almost certainly take a tax write-down on both films, seen internally as the most financially sound way to recoup the costs. This thing was apparently so bad that they were like, we can't put this in theaters because it's not going to make anything, and we're not even going to make back the money that it's going to cost us to finish the film, market the film, and roll it out internationally. We're not going to make any money off just dumping it on HBO Max because nobody's going to sign up for HBO Max who isn't already signed up for HBO Max to watch this Batgirl movie. The only possible way we can financially somewhat recover from this is just to trash the film and get the tax write-down on it. That's the situation that they found themselves in. Now, many people may ask, well, my goodness, why didn't they kill this movie halfway through the production? Because that was different ownership that made these deals. Now, I said at the beginning of this that I see this move, while it totally shocked me at first, as great leadership. And here's why. That this, I believe, is incredibly bold, decisive leadership on the part of the new ownership at Warner Brothers. They have just shown me, as one individual fan, that they are absolutely committed to changing the direction of DC. Absolutely committed to change the direction of DC. We have heard, and we've talked about this over the past few weeks, we have heard from all the outlets that to David Zaslav, their number one priority right now is to get what he sees as their most valuable asset, which is the iconic DC canon, and righting the ship. Because whether you're a huge DC fan or maybe you're a DC hater, I think we all agree, the public perception is that the DC movies are second-class citizens compared to the Marvel stuff. And David Zaslav is not on my watch. And so if your number one priority is to say, we are going to change the way people see the DC content. We are going to change. We are making this our priority. So people see DC content the way it deserves to be seen, as premium, first-class stuff all the way. Here's the question then. And this is basic leadership 101. If you say you have a number one priority, then your smaller decisions need to reflect that priority. And the question became, does releasing a subpar Batgirl movie that we think is going to embarrass us, does that help us change the image of DC movies? Or does that hurt us with our image of DC movies? And if the answer isn't, it helps us. If the answer isn't, yeah, putting Batgirl out is totally going to change the way people see DC movies. If that's not the answer, then you need somebody with the balls in leadership to say, then you know what? We're going to eat whatever financial losses there are because DC fans deserve better. The DC properties deserve better. The DC brand deserves better than for us just to schlock out shit just because we made it. And people will say, well, we want things to change. Well, we want things to change. Well, if you want things to change, then people are going to have to start doing things differently. You can't get somebody who's mauled by a tiger and go, I'll slap a Band-Aid on it. No, you're going to have to do something drastic. If the LA Lakers say, sports analogy, sorry, but if the LA Lakers say, our number one priority is to become younger and faster. If they say that, oh, and by the way, we signed Shaquille O'Neal to come out of retirement and help us out. Well, that makes no sense. If your priority is to get younger and faster, make decisions that make you younger and faster. If you say your priority is to elevate the DC content to where it deserves to be, then putting out a crappy movie, again, I haven't seen it, these are just reports, a crappy movie that went over budget and is not going to help you, then putting that out becomes counterproductive to what your primary goal is. Now, people will then say to me, and I got in some discussions online last night, well, this is disrespectful to the people who made the movie. I'm sorry. It's Warner Brothers' movie. They paid for it. You have to do what is right by your entire company, by everybody who works for you, for all the future filmmakers who are going to come and work on your projects. When you go into a restaurant and you order a steak and it comes back and it's completely overcooked and it tastes like char and it's bad, do you just go ahead and eat it and say, well, it would be disrespectful not to eat the steak? No. You're going to go, I paid for it. This is my steak. This does not work for me and what I want for my dinner, so I'm not going to eat it. And this is one of those situations where I think this was Warner Brothers going, and again, this is all predicated on an assumption. Of course, assuming just makes an ass out of you and you, but it's all predicated on the assumption of all these reports that the movie was that bad. And who knows, maybe I would have seen Batgirl and I would have said, well, shit, I really like that. Maybe I would have loved it. I don't know. I'm simply going off this thing from what I've heard from everybody else, including my own inside Warner Brothers sources, to say that the movie was quite crap. And if the movie is quite crap, you tell me, what is better for the DC brand? Put out another crappy movie or kill it and say, no. What we want to put in front of the audiences is quality. It's quality. And so, yeah, and listen, I reserve the right to change my opinion on this when we get new information, because as new information comes out, intelligent people alter their perception of things, and we'll see once new information comes out. But based on all the information we have right now, Rob, you yourself, we're obviously not going to mention who, but we read an email that you received today from somebody intricately involved with Warner Brothers production today as well. And so this is the thing. Anyway, how do you see this and what stands out to you?
Well, just quickly, this email, the person I reached out to is somebody I implicitly respect, trust, has made billions of dollars in box office, said this to me. I suspect both movies, because we're talking about Batgirl and Scoob.
Yeah, Scoob also got the hold.
I suspect both movies were conceptually not very good ideas to begin with. So better to sweep them under the rug and blame it on the mismanagement of the previous regime who greenlit those movies. I think if The Matrix Revolutions, and I think this is very important, was in the same situation as Batgirl and Scooby, Zaslav would have done the same thing. Arguably, the Matrix franchise was damaged by the last release, which I also agree with.
I agree with as well.
Had the franchise been managed properly, the Matrix would have been another pillar franchise for the WB. Now it's dead, at least for the time being. Now, what I think is really interesting about this, John, is that in Hollywood, you have your management structure. You've got the people running the studio, and then you have the filmmakers. And normally you hire the filmmakers and let them do their thing. And whatever you get, you put it out. Well, I think what David Zaslav has done is he said, you know what, no longer. You don't get to have a franchise anymore, and we're going to, and I would say if you look at the franchises, our beloved franchises, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Star Trek, whether it's Doctor Who, whatever, the creators of these franchises, I think all of them across the board, what David Zaslav has done is he's put everyone on notice. We're no longer going to be like, oh, you filmmakers, we'll give you a job. Go make something. They're saying, no, we're going to do what we should have been doing from the very beginning. We're going to watch you. We're going to watch what you've done. We're going to see every part of the process. Now, from a creative standpoint, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you're going to now... Kevin Feige has been doing this since the beginning.
Yes, he has. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
He hires a James Gunn. He's like, James Gunn, you don't get to go do James Gunn stuff. We want you to bring the James Gunn-ism to the Guardians of the Galaxy, but you're working with us. We're going to watch what you do. We are going to collaborate because Kevin Feige knows. We haven't had studio regimes. It used to be that the studio heads in the days of yore, they knew what was a good story because it wasn't some corporate-minded, we're waiting for our AT&T bonuses. These are not just Ivy League educated business people that look like good corporate hires. David Zaslav's like, man, if you're not making a good movie that I want to see, Boom, I'm swinging my sword. You're done. This better be freaking great. And if it's not great, all know. All know. I don't have to worry about executives telling me all know, because everyone in Hollywood's like, William Goldman, in his great book, Adventures in the Screen Trade, said, no one in Hollywood knows anything. That isn't true. The problem is the people in power didn't know anything.
Right.
Nowadays, they do. They can look and go, is this really a great franchise property? I liked Matrix. What was it? I don't even remember what it was called.
Oh God, I didn't.
Matrix.
I wanted to.
Resurrections?
Resurrections.
Yeah.
I liked it. It wasn't a good Matrix movie. I liked it from a conceptual standpoint. I'm like, this is interesting. Not a good movie. I liked it, but it wasn't good. And if I had read the script, I understand what Lana Wachowski was trying to do, but I would have said, Lana, this isn't what made The Matrix money. This is not what people want to see. I understand what you are trying to do, but this isn't the movie the studio should make, and nor should the franchise accept it.
By the way, with that, I forgot to read one final thing. Warner Brothers did put out an official statement today. And this is the official statement that Warner Brothers put out regarding the cancellation of Batgirl. By the way, confirming that they have indeed canceled it. Warner Brothers said the following: the decision to not release Batgirl reflects our leadership's strategic shift as it relates to DC Universe and HBO Max. In other words, we're no longer going to put out shit, and we're not going to make stupid movies only that are going to go directly to streaming. We want DC belongs the most respect, and it deserves to be on the big screen, and our fans deserve to have excellence put into these movies. That is their shift in leadership strategy. Let me start that from the beginning. The decision to not release Batgirl reflects our leadership's strategic shift as it relates to the DC Universe and HBO Max. Leslie Grace is an incredibly talented actor, and this decision is not a reflection on her performance. We are incredibly grateful to the filmmakers of Batgirl and Scooby, Holiday Haunt, and their respective casts, and we hope to collaborate with everyone again in the near future. That, again, is the official HBO statement. Now, remember, one of the big things David Zaslav had to do when he came in was to clean up the mess that Jason Kilar made about ruining their relationships with everybody. I think it's very key that they put in there, hey, artists, us pulling the plug on this is not Leslie Grace's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's the last guys. It's their fault. The ones that are gone. This is their fault. So I think it's important that they kind of reached out a little bit of an olive branch to the talent and say whatever, regardless of what the truth may be. But I think it's important that they pointed out that this represents a shift in our strategy. So I don't know.
I also think, too, that we have to mention, I think Toby Emmerich has a little bit to blame here, because he was also pushing for that strategy of day and date releases.
Right.
Because, Toby Emmerich he sees the writing on the wall. He wanted to get over into that HBO Max cheddar-filled zone where I can get paid. I can move over, and it didn't work, bruh. That's why he was out. He's got his producing deal.
Chris, we for the last 24 hours, we've been seeing all this unfold. It's a major shift. I mean, I jokingly put up on Twitter right now, every DC director with the movies got coming out, when they see their phone ring and it's got Jordan Peele sweating. Because, I mean, you just never know. But what is your takeaway from all this? What stands out to you, and how do you see the movie?
I mean, it's pretty unprecedented, right? I mean, it feels like this could happen to anyone right now. My heart goes out to Leslie Grace. I am so glad they talk about her in the statement.
She's so good.
She's incredible. You watch In the Heights and you just go, that's a star. And she already was fighting this uphill battle with certain types of basement dwellers who are already, that's not my Barbara Gordon. People are already on Twitter and Instagram giving her shit about this, which is so uncool. It makes my blood boil. That's not the thing to do, guys. It's a real human being that you're attacking. It's so messed up. So that is really, really upsetting to me. Obviously, for the whole tax credit thing, they're never going to be able to show any of this footage, right? That eliminates anyone ever seeing Batgirl ever again in any way, shape, or form.
If they
of
do
this version.
make it as a tax write-down, they will never be able to monetize it.
So there's that. So I understand that kind of idea about getting their money back. Did we cancel the wrong movie? Did we cancel the wrong one? Because if we're talking about restoring a brand and a brand's image, I'm floored that this is worse than the Killing Joke animated film, which I know it was animated, much smaller budget and everything. But if we're talking about restoring the brand of a character, restoring this and all of that, I can think of a character that's a big part
Right.
of the WB.
But my two things about that, what makes that situation different, and my frustration over WB's handling of the Flash is well documented. But what I will say is this, is that the two fundamental differences between the Batgirl situation and the Flash situation is, number one, from everything we're hearing from everyone, the Flash movie is actually quite good. I mean, again, I haven't seen it. But you guys have read the same things I have. The people that Rob and I both have heard from, surprisingly enough, everything we have heard from Andy Muschietti's Flash movie has been, it's actually quite good. So that's the first difference.
Really good.
Yeah.
Not just, really good.
That's the word we're hearing. The second significant difference is, whereas they are faced with a $70 to $90 million hit, the Flash is more than double of that, represents more than double of that investment. So now we're talking, instead of a $70 to $90 million hit, now we're talking about a $200 million plus hit. So yeah, I get it. A lot of people have been asking that same question, but there are two fundamental differences.
And that's
there.
why I think phrasing is really important here, though, right?
Right.
If you are
You're
talking
right.
about restoring a brand and all of that, then you need to address some things, guys. You
I
absolutely
agree.
do. So there's that. This makes me nervous. And I have produced very little, and it's been very small scale. I am very, very worried for the creative side of this, though, that you do a test screening before your work is done, and that's it. That makes me really uncomfortable about the creative process.
Well, I think the word around them before that test screening has been, they've been very worried about it.
Okay.
I think even before, I think the test screening for them was really just more of an affirmation of what they have all kind of known. And again, remember, it's important to remember that this movie was being made under the old ownership.
Yes.
And this is something that the new ownership has just kind of inherited.
John, I think I actually love this situation in a way, because this shows that we had people that ran these studios that didn't know whether their product was good or not.
Or didn't care.
Well, I think they cared. I mean,
You're right. You're right. I was out of line to say that.
I think they
You're
didn't
right.
know because, look, my only experience was I worked at a very small level. I worked for Warner Brothers in feature production. So our department was in charge. I worked for the senior vice president, Bill Young. And every day they showed dailies to the executives. And there were other executives that would cover these films. They were their films that they shepherded into existence. And they would have to go to a screening room after lunch, usually from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and watch dailies every day. I am willing to bet dollars to donuts. No one does that anymore. You think executives, first of all, they don't screen them in a screening room. I'm sure everybody gets them virtually. How many people? How many executives? How many executives out there who are covering these $150 million movies are watching the dailies every single day? And if they are watching them, how many of them actually know what they're seeing, if it's good or not? That's what happened when I worked at the studios 30 years ago. Now, I'm sure I can guarantee you, because a movie, if there was a problem, I mean, admittedly, I worked on things like Nothing But Trouble, which Dan Aykroyd directed. But even then, the executives were like, what the hell is this? And they didn't know what to do, or Bonfire of the Vanities. But I'm willing to bet you the days of studio executives who are in charge of $200 million movies not knowing what they were making is over. Zaslav has said, you know what? You people better know what the hell we're spending our money on. And if you can't tell whether it's good or bad, I can.
And how is it going to affect the overall image of, like, do people look at our movies and instantly think DC movies, those are quality movies, or otherwise? By the way, there's one other thing I should point out.
By the way, that's a very good point.
One other thing we should point out is that I read some people, and there was a little bit of confusion about this, so I totally get this. Some people had written to me and said, I feel bad, like, John, you had said when Jason Kilar was moving everything to streaming that like kind of double crossed some people because they were going to make money on the box office. Like individual actors or producers or directors had points. Scarlett Johansson was going to make money on the box office, and they hurt that. Remember, Batgirl was never going to theaters. So none of the actors, directors, whatever, nobody lost any money on this. The directors got paid, the actors got paid. There were no theatrical bonuses involved because it was never going to go to theaters. So just something that everybody get.
Which is one of the reasons it was easy to do this.
Yes.
If it was a Black Widow situation, I mean, people could have said, wait a minute, where's my box office bump, yo? Like, there is talk of moving this theatrically like they've moved. The first thing I thought about was what's up with Blue Beetle. Are we going to see that?
Well, remember, I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, it was while under the new ownership that the announcement came out that they were moving Blue Beetle off HBO Max into
I mean, that
theaters.
would be really interesting because that would be a vote of confidence
Yeah,
for that
so it
project.
seems it was a vote
Very
of confidence
excited
they
about
got.
that.
This
But
had so many good things going for it. It seemed like the Batgirl Burnside costume, Brendan Fraser. I just give me my movie.
well,
I want what I want.
but here's the thing. I mean, what I love about this is this kind of thinking might present or prevent. Remember Pitoff's Catwoman movie?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I mean,
One of the three worst
I love
movies
Sharon
ever.
Stone. I will watch Sharon Stone read the phone book. But my God, I look at my quarter scale Sharon Stone statue, and every time I see it, I'm like, why did you agree to be in Catwoman? I
But
think
I
that
bet
it's
you on this. I
15
bet you.
years later.
I bet you when they read the script though, and they were hearing the pitch, like you and I both know that when you read a script, sometimes the movie in your head is a lot better than the one that actually ends up
No,
being
it's
on
true.
screen,
I mean,
right?
Halle Berry, God bless her. I mean, she really shepherded that into existence. She loved the fact that when she was a kid, Eartha Kitt inspired her and all that. I get that. But you know what? Somebody has to be able to read a script in Hollywood and go, hey, this is really good.
But to your point about Blue Beetle, see, I think this, I know some people heard about the Batwoman news and they got, oh my God, now I'm really worried about Blue Beetle. To me, this should be encouraging because they already made the move of taking Blue Beetle, saying, you know what? No. This important character and this project that these artists have made, we are not going to let it wallow just on a streaming service. We are putting this thing in theaters. So it's already gotten that
So
support,
in a way, that's we can look at that as being uplifting and encouraging
Hey,
because
if you're looking forward to Blue Beetle, yeah.
and apparently it's better than the axe swings the other way, going, well, if what you were making, which was once a direct to streaming property, is good enough to be theatrical, we'll release it.
Yeah.
So
an axe can tear down your house, but it can also build a cabin.
That's
So-
exactly right.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. And listen, I'm sure there are many more angles to look at with this as well. And I'm sure there's a huge, wide variety of opinions. Again, all of us, including those of us sitting up on this stage right now, we've known about this for 24 hours. Right? So
Right.
we are
been a
all going to
whirlwind.
have some opinions change. We're all going to have some different thoughts as new information comes out. But I'm sure a lot of you guys have some thoughts of your own as well. Whatever your thoughts are on that, and again, we're all just looking at this from the outside in. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. Unless you're watching live and want to send us your thoughts right now, because right now we are opening up the super chats. The super chat flood doors are now open. We're only going to leave them open for a few minutes, so make sure you get those in as quickly as you can. Now, before we get to those live questions that you guys sent in, we want to take a second and thank one of the longtime sponsors of us here at the John Campea Show, our friends at Stamps.com. We want to thank the sponsor of this video, Stamps.com. Now, guys, you don't need me to tell you that running a business, no matter how big or small, is an incredible stress. It feels like you need 5 of you for all the different directions you're being pulled in. And with all that, who's got time to go to the post office? Having to drop everything that you're doing to make a run to the post office is a major pain and drain on your day, especially when you've got more important things to do like running your business. So stop mailing and shipping the hard way. Stamps.com is your 24/7 post office that you can access from everywhere. Skip the headache with Stamps.com. Stamps.com gives you access to all of the post office and UPS shipping services that you need right from your computer. And get discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 30% off USPS rates and 86% off UPS. Stamps.com just makes your life easier, guys. You're up and running in minutes, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send it. So guys, don't mail and ship the hard way. Sign up with Stamps.com today. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code CAMPEA. And thank you to our friends at Stamps.com for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, we're now going to throw it open to you. We want to hear what you have to say, and we're going to start off with our beloved channel members. So, Ray, have our channel members have anything in there?
Yeah, we got a couple. Gary Bay writes, with the Batgirl being shelved, do you think then this increases the chances of the Flash being shelved or just putting it on HBO Max?
Maybe. Number one, it is 100% confirmed they are not going to put this on HBO Max. It's theatrical or nothing. Again, the two major differences is number one, all the word we hear about this movie is actually quite good, that Andy Muschietti made a good movie. And if that helps the image of the quality image of DC, they'll put it out. But I'm not saying anything's 100% safe. I mean, David Zaslav may look at this thing with Ezra Miller and just go, you know what? This movie is too much trouble than it's worth right now. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to get its theatrical release because apparently it's good.
Dude, what have we heard about Ezra Miller in the last couple weeks? Nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm positive a bunch of WB operatives have Ezra Miller sequestered in a safe house, bound and gagged.
It's
until this
only
movie comes out.
August, man.
I
I mean, The Flash doesn't come out till what, May of 2023?
I think that axe takes flight just like the Thor's hammer.
Yeah,
Can get
it
him,
flies around the world.
gets him. All right, what's next?
All right, Reels and Heels writes, is there a chance Batgirl could end up like the Corman Fantastic Four as a bootleg?
I mean, as a bootleg, maybe that would be the or the Star Wars Christmas special. I mean, that's the only way it's going to become.
Yeah.
You're going to be walking down Hollywood Boulevard. Hey, want some Batgirl? Want some Batgirl? I mean, that's going to be probably the only way people see it.
I would suspect that they wait, and maybe in 5 years.
Remember, if they do take the tax write down,
Right, but then
they can't ever do
they'll
that.
declare it.
Oh, yeah, then they'll
take-
have to declare
They
it,
take
yeah.
the tax write down. They already write it off, but when they release it, 5 years from now,
Maybe. All right, what's next?
Okay,
just maybe.
JG Trey writes, John, I watched Jordan Peele's Us for the first time, and I was curious. What about the ending did you think made no sense? I respectfully disagree.
The whole premise. So you're telling me that nobody knew that just a few feet underground that had to be fed, have electrical systems, water, an in-ground economy, blah, blah, that there was literally a double the population living underground. And there was no plausible explanation given for that in the movie. If you want to do this. So I don't know, Rob, how would you respond to that?
Hands across America. I mean, they were, but that's what they were doing. It was a reference that I get it. That from a conceptual standpoint in your mind, you can think, okay, I get the point that he was trying to make, but like you just pointed out, first of all, how did that happen?
Yeah, that was never
What are
addressed.
these? Did Rudy from the $6 Million Man somehow create the fembots? Did make the no? It just none of that. It made a leap that went outside of the parameters that the movie established in the first place.
Right. And again, we're not saying you're wrong for liking it.
By the way,
not
no.
at all. It's just that you're asking us why it didn't work for us. That's why for us it didn't work. But hey, man, all that matters is that if you watched it and you'd enjoyed it, that's the most important thing. All right, what's next?
All right, Robert writes, do you think there will be an entire different looking DCEU after The Flash, affecting Wonder Woman 3 and other DCEU films that follow?
Here's the problem. We look for instant results. We as fans, we think instantly. It takes a long time to steer a big ship, right? I don't think we're going to see immediate repercussions other than things like Batgirl getting axed or things like that. So how this will affect yet not in production projects like Wonder Woman 3 or whatever, a lot has yet to be seen. So I just don't know. All I'm gaining from this right now is that they're saying, listen, there's a perception out there that our movies aren't as good as the other guys' movies. And we need to change that if we're going to be successful long term. So what specific way they're going to go about that, I'm not sure.
Dude, I think the problem is we always say on the show, we've said it for years, they don't have a Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
They still don't.
Every time they say they do, they then say, no, now you're just on a committee.
They
it's
don't.
crazy.
But what I think, what they finally have now is there's somebody at the top who's going to now delineate whether they think this is good or bad, and that's a start.
And he's got honestly the best movie executive of the last 40 years in Alan Horn.
Absolutely.
Now they're helping them make those decisions.
And I'm sure, Alan Horn has just started, so he probably didn't have much of a say
the
over
guy who
this one.
shepherded Marvel and was Kevin Feige's boss. Just that guy.
The guy who Kevin Feige has cited as being his mentor and one of the most influential men in the business. He came over to war. But I think that's the real problem. I mean, look, we already saw between Zack Snyder's Justice League and David Ayer's Suicide Squad, we saw a monumental cluster F in terms of studio management and filmmaking. That's never going to happen again. And I love the fact that David Zaslav, I'll bet you he watched this movie. And I bet he made this decision
he did
personally. Probably watched both movies and it's not like he's an idiot. He knows what's good and what's bad. That's what we need. We need leadership, especially in Hollywood, because these people don't know.
All right,
He
what's
does.
next?
It's Zante writes, I'm happy they canceled Batgirl. They need to scrap any DC movie after the end of this year and give a new person the opportunity to start from scratch.
Well, I mean, okay, look, I get the philosophy there. Like when somebody comes in, Brandon, you want to give them a clean sheet of paper. They say, okay, go ahead, make your own thing. But that's not reality.
No.
The reality is you have to step in. Like, for example, my wife Ann just got promoted to vice president of her company, and she just can't just come in
Congrats.
and wipe everything away. No, part of the job is taking what's there and then working with it. So I don't think the answer is just scrap anything that's out there, because there could be some real quality out there. I'm still very excited about the Shazam movie. I'm very excited about Aquaman. I mean, they got a number of things I'm excited about, but they're going to have to just kind of take it step by step and see how that goes. All right, what's next?
Okay, Edward Marson writes, I think this is worse than most things Chapek has done. This sets a horrible precedent for creatives. Why work for WB if they might just scrap the thing you poured years of your life into for taxes?
No, it's just simple. If you turn in crap, we're not going to air it. That's it. Listen, the responsibility goes both ways. When you are paid, the money you get paid to make quality product, if that product isn't good, the studio doesn't go, well, we just got to put it out anyway, even if it's shit. No. That's not the way it works, and that's not the way it should work. This is a matter of, they saw a movie, they said, this is going to make us lose even more money if we try to put it out. It's going to hurt our reputation. And if it hurts our reputation, that's going to have negative implications for the next 5 movies you try to put out. No, it's their movie. They own it. The creatives got paid. And if they believe the end result is not quality work, don't put it out.
I feel exactly the way you do. It's almost the exact opposite. Because this project was not like the passion project. It's not tourist vision. The directors did not write the script. They were directors for hire. These guys, they did Bad Boys for Life. We can make this movie for cheap. We'll do it for TV. We'll hire them. Of course, they want to step up their game. They want to get another job. We'll take the job. But they're hampered or hamstrung by what they were given.
Here's a great example, too. Think about either in like Apple or video game world. When Cyberpunk came out, what was the narrative? All the bugs. And everyone's like, no, they should not have released this. You don't just go, oh, no, we owe it to our things put out. If Apple makes a product and like the antenna in a new iPhone doesn't work, oh, no, they should just release it. A lot of people worked really hard on that.
Fix it later.
No, if it's not quality product and it's going to hurt your business, you don't put it out. It's just that simple. Anyway, okay, what's next?
Casey Mack writes, along with Bullet Train last night, I actually saw Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Overall, I didn't know what to feel about this movie, but I thought it was cute and had some pretty funny moments in it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one too. I finally got around to seeing the trailer. It looked awesome. Can't wait to see it. All right, what's next?
All right, Fanjecture writes, the only thing that makes me scratch my head on She-Hulk is that just 10 days ago, they dropped a Comic-Con trailer for September 17th.
Again,
The date change is a great choice, but why didn't they know this 10 days ago?
because I think you have to you shouldn't just make snap decisions. I honestly think this does have a lot to do with what they got to sit back and look at the data of what happened when they were releasing Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan at the same time. And then when you have projects that are this big and this much money riding on, you don't just go, oh, well, let's make a decision right now, done, and then change direction, right? You discuss it, you analyze the information a little bit more, and then you make a decision. I honestly don't think at Comic-Con they had come to a final decision yet, but I think they have now.
I agree. I mean, they also saw trailers for other shows that were coming out at the same time. Like, maybe we should steer clear and give ourselves a.
Well, they weren't ever going to be
wide
released
berth.
on when any of the other shows were coming out, though.
Well, sure, but I mean, in terms of there's a lot happening in the same period of time.
Yeah.
So if you can move, I mean, this is not immutable. It's not like, well, the theater owners are waiting for these movies to be in their theaters. No, it's theirs. And like you said, they got analytics. And remember, these analytics are in real time, changing all the time.
Yeah. And
So-
just, again, think of this, though. We're going to have a couple of weeks window. We're in the same week, we're going to watch She-Hulk, Andor, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. It's going to be, I'm very excited about
Sandman
window.
this week.
And Sandman comes out. All right, what's next?
All right. Kylo Ken writes, Ray, John, have you checked out WWE recently?
No.
After Vince retired in disgrace, Steph and Triple H have taken over.
Yep.
The content seems to be significantly better than it was. Like to know your thoughts. Well, I will say, I think they're gonna bring back Sasha Banks, which is a good sign. She needs to come back. And if they bring Bray back, I'm all in again. I'm all in.
All I know is that I saw a report that said the ratings for Monday Night Raw were up, like the highest they've had in a couple of years.
And you can see it in the product. There was a lot of small but good things that you saw throughout the whole show. Like, it's different. It's different.
All right,
Good.
what's next? It's
cool.
How many more do we got?
We got one more from Harv's K. It's time for Dodgers baseball. Rest in peace to the GOAT of sports announcers. How lucky is LA to have had Bob Miller, Chick Hearn, and Vin Scully?
Yeah, look, I'm not a baseball fan, everybody, but even I know how iconic Vin Scully is. Not just in Los Angeles, he's one of the most iconic voices for baseball
Ever.
in the world, and I was really sad to hear about his passing. All right, with that down, guys, let's get over to the super chats you guys have been firing in. So, Chris, what do we got?
All right, let's
Hey,
see.
not that.
We don't got that.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just sad.
That.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Some support from Johnny Got Lost from Noah AG. Thank you so much,
Thank
you guys.
you guys, very much, especially you, Noah AG. Thank you, man.
From Tumbling Tornado. Hey, J. Crew. So the WB algorithm felt like Batgirl wasn't hitting the right taste clusters, huh? I guess it's a 90 million tax write-off now.
Yeah, and listen, that's how bad it is. When they realize our best financial option on this product is to just take the tax write-off, because ain't no one's going to go see this shit, and we ain't going to just dump it on HBO and further lower the perception of the quality of our films. I mean, that's a sad statement, but if that's the reality of it, then
By the
you gotta
way,
do it.
John, I also want to point out that this isn't just an algorithm thing.
No, not at all.
I mean, this is a taste issue. Algorithms work with what's already out there, what's going to come out there, whatever. This is an algorithm can't look at a movie and go, that's pretty good.
That's a Barry reference, though. That is what he is doing.
All right, what's next?
From Ricky Bizarro, sending in an almost $20 super chat.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thanks, Ricky. One of two. If the argument for shelving Batgirl is to preserve the DC brand, I still think it's a mistake. After years of being plagued by hashtag release the Snyder Cut, I don't think WBD should open up hashtag release Batgirl. I've arguably seen more talk over this movie than if they just released a poor film. Can't help but feel bad for all involved. Understand they got paid, but who wants to spend hours on a project to become a tax write-off?
It's irrelevant. It's an absolutely relevant question. You are a business. If you're Apple and you had engineering teams, designers, whatever, make a phone, but it doesn't make phone calls, you don't put out the product. And again, like, if you want things to change at DC, then you have to do things differently. Just keep doing the way you've been doing all the time, and it'll just magically change. It's not the way the world works. If you want to fundamentally alter the course of the way the general movie-going public perceives your movies and perceives the quality of your product, you can't just go, just put it out anyway. Like, that's going to hurt you long term. We've seen the results of that, and the new leadership is stepping in and saying, no more. No. It means we're going to have to do some pretty drastic things now, but we believe 5 years from now, we will be in a much better place, a much healthier place, a much more profitable place, and giving our fans the content they deserve better if we make these decisions now. And that's why I'm personally all for it. For now, let's see what happens if new information comes out.
Also, we had the results of maybe they should never have released Justice League.
No, that has caused them. Like, listen, we've heard from people at Warner Brothers that was they've massively regretted that.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since, it caused them more headache and more problems. That it cost them money. They lost money. I mean, it was just whatever. I mean, when they did it, like, you remember me, once HBO Max became viable, I'm like, yeah, put out the Snyder Cut now. Just put on HBO Max. Like, give it to somebody. I thought it was a good idea, but it turns out it wasn't.
Well, but I do think from a creative standpoint, we also saw the first Justice League, and that was a big, bad.
And again, but that had
profitable.
everything to do with the studio going, okay, so we don't like the movie that's being made now. We can't make a movie, put out a movie that's 4 hours long. So here's what we're going to do. Bring in another director, tell them they have to change all this stuff. Right. Don't give them a single extra day of shooting time. They still have to make the release date and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was just a number of ways the previous ownership have botched the DC property. And again, let me highlight, there have been some diamonds in there, right? Man of Steel, the first Wonder Woman movie, Shazam, the first Aquaman movie. There have been some diamonds in there. But again, David Zaslav comes in and says, man, you guys have almost run this thing into the ground with your poor decisions.
But now, John, do you think hashtag release Batgirl or whatever it's going to be called, I think that in my mind, we're going to see it.
Yeah,
it's going to be. I think
and they will
misdirected.
ignore it. And they will ignore it.
They will ignore it because now people are going to get behind. They think just because it hasn't come out yet. Here's an instance where we actually should get behind this decision, as opposed to fandom saying, "No, we need this movie to come out."
Oh, and by the way, it's totally cool for fandom to ask for what they want. There's nothing wrong with fandom asking for what they want. But Warner Brothers, now the new leadership is going to go, we know what's best for our product, and this movie was bad, and you didn't see it, and we're just going to keep it that way. All right, what's next?
From Jay Master, in an article Variety released today, Warner Brothers Discovery is quietly pulling content from HBO Max that is said during Warner Brothers Investor Day on Thursday that Discovery will shut down on HBO Max.
Yeah, I don't believe that like at all. I don't think Discovery bought WB for the billions and billions that they did just to scrap it. So I don't believe that. I mean, obviously we've speculated from the beginning that they would merge HBO Max and Discovery Plus into one entity. We talked about that from the very first day. So there's something that, but yes, if you didn't catch this, 6 HBO original movies, things like, what was the Seth Rogen one about Pickle? The Pickle Man, or the guy who wakes up in a different century?
Oh, yeah,
and he plays himself and his great-great-grandson.
Yes, something like that. So movies like that, there have been 6 projects that they have pulled. And according to the reports these were all projects that nobody was watching, but they was still costing them an ongoing financial burden because they had to continue to pay out certain rights to it. And they ultimately decided nobody's watching this stuff. We're just pulling it down so it doesn't cost us anything. And because they are new, the article goes on to point out that because they're new ownership, they can pull that content and claim some tax write-off on it as well. Since, again, it was content nobody was watching.
It was called American Pickle.
American Pickle, thank you.
Enzo says that's probably the prequel to Pickle My Foot. So
yes,
that's where it all started.
Pickle My Foot is an original vision.
Yeah, original IP.
It's not a sequel. It's not based on anything previously existing.
Drama 8. Hi, all. At least you can say Zaslav has integrity and will try to make quality movies and TV shows going forward, hopefully. Bring on the mac and cheese.
Listen, as bullish, let me be very clear on this. As bullish as I have been on the moves that Zaslav has made so far, right? I've been very, very impressed with the leadership, the steadfast vision that he has, the commitment he clearly has to try to elevate the DC content, all that kind of stuff. It's still early. It's still early. I mean, he may end up making some terrible decisions and ruins everything.
He's just like, surprise, Wonder Twins movie.
Yeah, it's a whole cinematic universe. We're going to rebuild everything around the Wonder Twins. Listen, all I'm saying is, from what I've seen him do so far, I'm elated by what he's done so far. But that's not to say, again, if we got a small sample size, he's only been running the show for a very short period of time. It's possible he can run this thing off the rails. And we will talk about that if he does. But for now, I'm very impressed with what he's done.
I am too, but I'll tell you what I'm most excited about. Now, I'm not saying, I say this not because Henry Cavill's going to be in it. I'm willing to bet you the biggest priority right there is Superman. I think Superman.
I have no reason to agree with you, but I completely agree with
Your
you.
And look,
Your heart's all the reason,
it
John.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's Henry Cavill or whatever. I mean, it is their priority is, I think, as David Zaslav comes in, he goes, there's one movie that we're making. It's going to lead the way to our future, and whatever that is, it's going to be Superman.
Okay, again, Jonathan, can you throw up the spoiler thing there?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to be talking spoilers here for a second. Once you see the spoiler sign disappear, you can tune back in. Going to give a little bit of a spoiler about Super Pets. Gave the same spoiler yesterday, so if you don't want to hear it, tune out until this picture comes down. Again, I'm watching that post-credit scene because I didn't see it the first time I saw the movie. That Black Adam, voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, shows up and, hello, Superman, Black Adam. And you have, so again, it's more Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson having Superman and Black Adam together. Why do they give me hope? Why do they give me, I don't know. We'll see.
From Super Pets.
Okay. Yeah, from Super Pets, right? All right, take the picture down. All right, what's next?
From Ryan Launer. For those of you keeping score, Batgirl 0, Morbius 2. How dare you, Ryan?
That's right. Morbius has had 2 releases.
Oh, man. And shout out to the intern who's now leaving the office with a Batgirl zip drive up their rear.
Hey, listen, going back to what somebody else asked earlier, could we see bootlegs of this? I mean, listen, we live in a world where everybody, all of us, walk around with a global audiovisual communications device in our pocket. And that's like 2 terabytes hard drive space. I'm talking about our phones. Somebody's going to get
Not
their
the
hands on
USBs
this.
we have up our butts.
I don't know, man. Wherever it came from, people will know where it came from. We live in an era
Yeah.
where it's too. There's now electronic.
A lot of security
Yeah,
on
you
that.
got to
Security.
watermark everything. Heck, scripts that we share. It's
Yep.
like, I will know. You sent
Oh,
me something.
I have scripts in my computer I can't give to anybody.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Bruh.
Bruh.
Bro.
You like to start your day with the Man of Steel soundtrack
Yes,
in the
I
shower?
do.
Sometimes I start my morning with a cold shower to the Yellowstone theme to face the day like John Dutton.
That's right, like a man does, like John Dutton. No, it's true.
Dr. Squatch.
I have a Google. What are they called? What are the Google devices called? The
Oh,
Apple one's
Nest.
called HomePods.
Was it Nest?
Nest is like for home control.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I've got
yeah,
one of the Google smart speakers in my bathroom. Like I have the smart stuff all over the
I
house.
hate Google.
But I get into my shower and I got the water on. I'm like, hey Google, play "What Are You Gonna Do When You're Not Saving the World" by Hans Zimmer. And that Superman theme starts to play, and I'm showering up. Yeah, like really pumped to face
you're
the
manscaping.
day.
Google goes.
Manscaped.
I start thinking of Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's
Wow.
movie of
In the
Superman,
shower, all lathered up.
all lathered up. Damn right.
Change the song to something different.
And then I put on some Katy Perry. No. I'm not. All right, what's next? Some Blackpink.
From Al Renshaw.
Yes.
Any
my
thoughts,
area.
any thoughts on Austin Butler revealing Baz humiliated him in the recording studio and he left crying every day? Certainly makes Baz look like a douche.
Listen, there are method actors. There are kind of method directors who will do things to get something out of their thing. I get, look, all I know is this. Butler and, why am I just freezing on
Baz
this?
Luhrmann?
And Luhrmann, they have a great relationship. But yeah, I didn't know what to make of that report. So I don't know. Maybe he's one of these funky directors that'll do something to try to get something out of their performer. But whatever it was, it worked because he's going to nominated for an Academy Award this year. I'm so convinced he's going to get nominated for that. Austin Butler, for his performance, he's going to get an Academy Award nomination this year.
He will, but man, do I hate that. You don't have to tear someone down to get something good out of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Like-
do it. Do it to you guys every day.
Yeah, Jonathan does it to us every day.
I just ignore all of you. I'm running around here happy as a clam, being like, whatever. Ray told me I'm getting fired again. Da, 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 da,
Like,
da, da, da.
I sit down and Jonathan looks at me from over his monitor and is just like, "You're enjoying those cupcakes, Campea?"
Yes, I am.
And there's no cupcakes too.
I
no
just always
cupcakes.
feel like method actor or method director, not in all cases, but in a lot of them, it's just a fancy way of saying I'm a prestige asshole.
Maybe.
Like, it just rubs me the
But
wrong
what
way.
if it gives you the result? What if it gives you an Academy Award? What if you get an Oscar out of it?
I mean, I'm still going to be like, you were a dick to me. And in my Oscar speech, I'd be like, I guess thank you for being a complete twat. I don't know.
All right, what's next?
From Andy. Looking at how Zaslav constantly swings his mighty axe makes me wonder how wasteful WB was with handing out projects left and right before he came on.
They greenlit a fucking Wonder Twins movie
With the Riverdale kid.
with listen, and again, no disrespect to the Riverdale kid, no disrespect to him. By the way, it also was going to star the girl. I think we broke Rob. Is Rob okay? You know how right
I'm good
there?
now.
What happened?
But
Sorry.
so, I mean, that's all you need to know about the state of things. That was the state of things when David Zaslav came in. Somebody had greenlit a fucking Wonder Twins movie. That was the state of things. You
Oddly
know,
enough,
they're-
Wonder Twins is going to be on Riverdale now.
Yeah, now they might as well just bring it all
That's
over
why they
there.
did the superhero arc, I'm assuming.
They're fighting Satan. Why not? All right, what's next?
From Attack of the Mushi. Just saying hi. Work is busy. Hi, Mushi.
Hey, Mushi, thank you so much. We say hi back to you,
Mushi.
my friend. All right, what's next?
From Ulatan. Have you seen the trailer for Devotion with Jonathan Majors and Glenn
Yes.
Powell? It looks great and following the fighter jet fever set by Top Gun Maverick.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was sold on this from just the opening shot of the trailer. Jonathan Majors, apparently, assumingly looking in a mirror, just this freaking facial
That new
acting.
trailer's dope.
and talking to himself. And Glenn Powell's going to be a superstar. And I'm a sucker for these old pilot kind of things. And some people say, wow, Glenn Powell, like, what's your next airplane movie going to be? But I mean, the trailer looked great. I mean, it looks
the new trailer I watched it like 4 times. I love the moment in the trailer when I don't know who says it. I think Jonathan Major says it because it's about the Korean War. And he's like, it's a MiG. And you see these 2 prop planes, these Corsairs, and then this jet just swoops in. I'm like, hell yeah, man. I mean, that's some peril right there. I can't wait.
One of my favorite parts of the trailer is Glenn Powell's in the living room. It's just, you like to get to know the men you're flying with. You want to see what it is they're fighting for. I love that line. And then Major's wife says back to him, and what is that for you? He says, I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm just like, this is already beautiful. This is just a damn trailer, and it's already beautiful.
I can't
I'm getting goosebumps.
I can't wait.
Thinking about. Okay, anyway, what's next?
From Josh Becker, I saw Bullet Train, and it now makes me think of Thomas the Tank Engine in a different way. People who've seen the movie should get it.
Okay, yeah. If you see the movie, actually, my assistant Taylor sent me this Thomas the Tank Engine reference on my text today. No, once you do, yes. Actually, it turns out the answer to everything in life you can find in Thomas the Train Engine. You'll see what we mean when you see the movie, but it's all about sorry, it's not the train engine. What do they call it?
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Tank Engine. Thank you. They correct him in the movie too. Somebody else says the train engine. Thomas the Tank Engine. All the questions in life are answered, and the wisdom for life is contained in Thomas. All right, what's next?
From Santiago Lugo, John, why don't you follow poor Rob on Instagram?
No, the problem is, here's the problem. The problem is, I can't remember the last time I actually opened Twitter and went and clicked follow on anybody. I don't open Instagram often. And when I do, it's usually to post or just check my messages quick, and then I just forget about everything else. I will do it. I will follow you on Instagram.
You know, I posted
when I watch
video.
Triple R, I will follow you. I'll remember that.
I was alphabetizing physical media last night, and I was really frustrated, and I made a video about it.
I saw that because I follow you.
By the way,
I mean, John follows me.
I want to point this out. Rob gave me this.
Look at that.
My all-time, this is the laser disc of my all-time.
Yeah, open that disc. Show people what a laser looks like.
All-time.
Oh my God.
By the way, that's
favorite.
a Japanese sleeve. I took the sleeve out and gave you a new.
My all-time favorite horror
Look at that,
movie.
man. Look at
Whoa.
that.
Look
Weren't
at that
those
big
pretty?
CD.
Weren't
That's
those
beautiful.
pretty?
These
I got to
were
get you the
beautiful.
frame for that so you can put it on your wall.
I know. I already talked to Ann. I said I want to get I want to frame this up. This American Werewolf in London is my all-time number 1 favorite horror movie, and I definitely got to get this framed and hung up. All right.
Yeah.
What's next?
From Ryder, in an unreal fantasy world, would you rather wipe the DCEU and start over years from now, or do you still think it can be saved over the long run?
Listen, winning cures everything, right? How much did our perception of the DCU change when Wonder Woman came out? Right? We're all like, everything's heading in the right direction. Or when Aquaman came out, right? Listen, all it takes, is at some point maybe the right decision to scrap everything, start over again? Maybe. But is there an argument to be made that you can still build from what you currently have? I believe absolutely you can. So either whatever direction they go, I'm fine with. But when you look at stuff like, I think Shazam is going to be high quality. I'm excited about Aquaman 2. Every word that we hear coming out is that this make-believe Flash movie, I got your back, Chris. This
Thank you. I
make-believe
appreciate
Flash
you.
movie is quite good. I mean, so yeah, I do believe the pieces are there that you can continue to build. But again, I would be perfectly fine if they decided to scrap it. All right, what's next?
From Sir John. Hi, Rob. Yesterday you said that you saw some Indian horror movies. I'm really curious about what they were and what was your favorite.
Oh my God, I can't even look. As I said, I am so not up on my Indian cinema. I mean, Sachi Ray's Apu trilogy is something I can talk about, pontificate about. But a lot of the Indian, here's my problem. I don't know the names of the Indian movies that I've seen.
Oh, no.
I don't know the names of them. Like, I can go Robot. Like, I liked Robot because I know that it was called Robot, if you haven't seen that. But I don't know the names of them. Like, I know the names of Japanese movies. I know the names of Russian movies. Mm-hmm. I don't know the names of Indian movies. Even movies I own. I don't know what they're called. So I couldn't even begin to tell you. Which, by the way, this is a huge failing in my life. After watching RRR, which I remember, I have a huge blind spot with Indian cinema. But the thing is, I love Indian cinema. And I have movies like, I alphabetized it yesterday, Lagan. Lagan is a movie about cricket. It's a 3-hour movie, but that was released domestically by Columbia. I don't know anything about Indian movies in terms of their titles.
Oh.
And so I couldn't tell you what they are called.
All right. What's next?
And that's on me. I'm a xenophobic colonizer.
You're doing your best. You're getting the media. You just need to learn about it.
All right. What's next?
Suthius. Anson Mount was shirtless in Strange New Worlds, and he was jacked. Must have been that Marvel workout. I really hope we see him again. He's becoming one of my favorites and was funny in the Storytime episode.
I'm telling you what, I really like Anson Mount.
He's great.
I like him. I love him as Captain Pike in Strange New Worlds. That show was a real pleasant surprise to me. It's been my favorite of the new Star Trek stuff. He's a big reason for that. But again, I think there's a lot coming for him. I really do. Not necessarily Marvel. I'm just saying, but I think there's a lot coming.
No,
for
he's a great actor. And look, I'll tell you this: Strange New Worlds. He's a Starfleet captain. They literally built a show around him based on his performance in Discovery.
Yeah, you're right. And that doesn't happen often.
And he was great in Hell on Wheels. I mean, he's an incredible actor.
All right, what's next?
And he's great hair.
From Jamie Sundays. The reality is the general audience has no idea that this was coming and probably would have thought this was another CW show. Everyone who worked on it got paid as well. This is a more artistic loss.
Yeah. You know, and I agree. And I think that sometimes people like me, people who make videos like these and people who watch videos like these, we forget that we represent a small segment of the overall movie-going audience. And whereas to a lot of us, this is a very huge deal. I actually think you're right. I think to a lot of people, like I bet if I call my mom, she's probably had no idea Batgirl movie was even coming. And you know, you're probably right. And this was probably the part of the problem that Warner Brothers facing. It's going to get looked at as some cheap CW show, probably. So, I mean, you're probably right, and maybe we'll find out more in the near future. All right, what's next?
From CJ Rebirth, I hope Brendan Fraser is doing okay right now. I'm sure he is.
Hey, listen, Brendan Fraser, he's got a lot of stuff coming, including he's got a movie coming out with Aronofsky.
Yeah, Darren the Whale.
Yep, he's doing just fine.
His
He's
quote
got
on that too.
What's
Did you-
that?
Did you read his quote about it? Where he was like, "I don't want to be coy, but this is going to be something very good." And you're just
About
like,
the whale?
Yeah, you're Brendan.
yeah between
It's going to be at
Oh
Toronto,
my
right?
gosh.
I
at
think
TIFF. It's going to be at TIFF, and he's got Doom Patrol going, which he is like wonderful in Doom Patrol. So don't worry about Brendan. He's doing just fine.
I will say it is heartbreaking when something of yours doesn't come out or you get cut from something. I've had that happen. And especially if you are counting on making some residual income. So there is definitely a loss here of time spent and the artistry and all of that too, that I think that, you know, no one here is trying to undermine by talking about this Zaslav thing, but it is an artistic hit too.
But you know, I pointed this out to somebody online, and while it is not 100% apples to apples comparison, the reality is, like, I had a conversation with Aaron. You know, Aaron has made like 7 or 8 pilots
Yep.
that the networks then look and go, and then they don't pick them up. So you had writers, directors, producers, artists, actors, all this kind of work on these pilot episodes and these shows to make the show, blah, 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 and it always happens during pilot season, and they just get, nope, pass.
Yeah.
And so, like, and again, I'm not saying that's an apples to apples comparison with Batgirl. Obviously, the Batgirl thing is a much bigger scale.
For sure.
But I'm saying, if you want to relegate it down to the artistic loss, it happens all the time.
And
all the time.
It's a big part of the business that we all deal with. Like, no one understands that we audition for our job every single day. And even when we get it, and even when we film it, and even when it's been edited, sometimes there's nothing to show. I've had my parents tune into TV shows and we all go, "So I didn't make it." Okay.
out.
All right. And if you have a real good manager like I did, they negotiate that you still get your residuals.
All right.
But you're here with us now.
Yeah.
What's next?
From Mr. Holtbrook, like in the show Warrior, how they shift from Mandarin to English. Does the movie Prey do the same thing for the Native Americans?
Yes. Yeah. So it does that, but they do it very quickly, much like the way they did in actually it's less like Warrior and more like Hunt for Red October.
Armageddon.
Yeah. I would like to have seen Montana. It starts with them speaking in Russian. And then during the reading of a biblical passage by Sean Connery, they flow into English. And then it's English from now on. But we as the audience know they're speaking Russian. But for the sake of the movie, we hear them speaking English. They really do more of that in Prey. And it's done very, very, very quickly right off the bat. All right, what's next?
From In My Humble Opinion Reviews, John, I'm still in a daze. The entire world doesn't make sense. Super Pets was actually pretty
Hey,
good.
listen, I still haven't wrapped my head around it. I still haven't wrapped my head around it. It's and you know what? Ann and I were talking last night. I think we're gonna go see it again.
Oh,
Yeah.
double down.
I still can't believe it.
Whoa.
But it's, you know what? listen, this is why I go into I have predictions about whether or not I think something looks good or will be good. Like we have our predictions and our thoughts about will it be good, but never once did I say Super Pets is bad because I hadn't seen it. And this is another great case about why when I go to a movie, I always take my expectations and I leave them at the door. And then I go in and then I give you guys my honest opinion. And I knew when the credits rolled, I'm like, damn it, I'm going to have to embarrass myself now and tell everybody this movie I said was going to be shit was actually good. But that's the thing. I will always give you my honest opinion. And I have to be honest with you. Super Pets was pretty good. I actually liked it.
Do you think Zaslav would have axed this movie if it wasn't good?
Yes.
Yeah, he would have.
That's why it came out, baby.
Yeah. I mean, if this thing wasn't enjoyable, if like obviously it's not going to make a ton of money, but you watch this movie, it's going to increase people's perception of the type of quality of movie that comes out because it was enjoyable. And guess what? The next time they do a DC animated film that's going to theaters, I'll still probably assume it's going to be shit, but I won't assume it is hard because this movie has changed my perception a little bit.
I'm going to have a gentler take on it being dog shit.
Assume hard.
I'm going to be like,
John Campea in Assume Hard.
Assume hard. All right, what's next?
From Andy. Honestly, I think Zaslav wants to reboot the DCEU, but he's waiting on Kevin Feige to leave Disney for one reason or another so he can hire Feige.
Listen, I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist here, but again, Zaslav just brought over Kevin Feige's favorite boss, and you are going to have a hard time convincing me that at least a little part of that decision wasn't as dangling a piece of Allen Horn cheese in front of Kevin Feige saying, come on over, Kevin. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying you're going to have a hard time convincing me that that wasn't at least 5% of the motivation.
By the way, you think they don't talk?
You
They're
know
like
they
good
talk.
buddies. I'm sure they talk all the time.
They're not Sly and Dolph. Come on. They're picking up the phone.
All right, what's next?
From Brian
why I
O'Neill
married you.
Singleton. Aw. Greetings, John and Campea Knights. Will we ever see the Batgirl? I remember a similar situation with Brenda Starr. It was shelved for years, but eventually leaked or released. Bring on the filthy.
Again, it really all depends. Rob brought up a really, really good point earlier that I want to draw some attention to because all the reports are telling us, and it's true, that if they do take this as a tax write-off, of the losses on as a tax write-down, which is what they're apparently going to do, then you can't monetize it. However, as Rob pointed out, like 5 years from now, you could then maybe put it out as something, but then you're gonna have to pay whatever tax penalty is on that. But if they want to do that in the future, it is possible. So maybe.
I mean, I could see it just showing up. You know, it's something that you put on the platform, and you do it without fanfare, and it's just there.
But again, the question becomes, why? Like, what would they stand to gain by doing?
Well,
that?
I think here's the thing. Right now, Batgirl has it's on the lips of people. They're waiting to see it. But once it's not it becomes a non-issue, like everything else. You just kind of put it out because it is a finished property. It's a finished product. So rather than spend, I mean, it's worth something, and you release it in 5 years, and suddenly it becomes a news story. Oh my gosh. Look what they released on HBO Max.
Well, according to the director's statement, though, that they put out on Twitter and Instagram and everything, they said that it's far from finished, though. So would we see something like that's pretty raw footage?
There was, remember, in that report we read, there are still millions that would need to be spent in the post-production. It's not
Yeah.
so there's still money that would have to be sunk into
Oh,
it.
well, there you
I mean,
go.
I'd still watch it either way.
And if they learned anything from the Snyder Cut release, maybe dumping more money into a lost project won't necessarily pay off in the end. All right, what's next?
From Enzo the Baker, Mario film. We know Chris Pratt voices Mario. Anya Taylor is Princess Peach. But Charlie Day will be Luigi. Please ponder the cosmic significance of this. Haven't we known that for a while?
Yeah, but is that a Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. All I know is that he also did the voice in the Lego movie with Chris Pratt.
Oh, he did a great job, too.
Spaceship. I loved his voice in that. So, and they work pretty well together. So that could be pretty good. All right, what's next?
From Wyatt Bender. Remember, Rob, you gave us Agent Cody Banks. I loved that movie.
There's a lot of people always act shocked when I mention the producer, single card credit, like
Only one.
boom, produced by Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert Meyer Burnett gave us the Agent Cody Banks movies.
And
Don't
let
forget
me
that.
just say, it would have been a lot better if they had gone with our original script instead of deciding it would be a tween movie. It was Ferris Bueller meets James Bond, and they decided to make it for 8 to 12-year-olds.
But you got paid.
I got paid. But you know what? The second movie's, even though I've got a credit on that, terrible. It could have been a viable franchise who ruined it? Studio executives.
All right, what's next?
From Seconds for Disaster. Did Ray show you guys the video I sent him of a guy dressed as Moon Knight who looks like it could possibly be Rob, turns and throws his crescent moons and hits a bystander in the nuts? Hilarious. Bring on the filthy. Why
Ray-
did you do that?
He has not shown us that.
God, sorry, Seconds. I did see it though.
I didn't mean to upload that to the web.
Everybody's got a cell phone these
Yeah.
days. Be careful.
You gotta.
All right, what's next?
From Official Friend Zone, Conor McGregor accepting the Oscar. I want to take this moment to apologize to absolutely no one.
That again. Listen, I don't like Conor McGregor, but man, he's got some zingers because he's surrounded by controversy. I think it's the night he won his second title. So he was a champ in 2 different weight divisions at the same time, and he wins it. He's in the ring. Joe Rogan comes in. He's like, how do you feel about your performance? And he takes the mic and says, listen, everybody, before I say anything else, I just want to take this opportunity and apologize to absolutely no one. And like, it's like, you know what? Not like the guy all you want. That was a pretty good moment. That was a pretty funny moment. All right, what's next?
From Mark Hansen, 1 of 3. All right. Hey guys,
luck.
making last minute prep for Gen Con tomorrow through Sunday, and I feel like a 57-year-old kid. I know some of you are TTRPG fans. Have any of you ever been to the best 4 days in gaming? Are there the other?
It's a ways up.
No,
there.
wait.
You got it?
Is
You
this
got
Mark
it?
Hansen?
Yeah, if you got it,
Yeah.
do it.
Well, he said right now, ignore the numbers. I only got the first 2 parts.
Oh, okay, that seemed like a.
Okay, so then there's a part 2.
What is is that not Trek the Next Generation? No, what I don't know what TTRPG is.
TTRPG.
I don't know what that is. Guys, please remember, never write in acronyms. So I don't know what we're talking about. But listen, whatever convention or whatever it is, I love them. Because the reason I love them...
Gen Con is a gaming convention.
Oh, it's a gaming
Okay.
convention.
Yeah, it's a gaming
Okay,
convention.
that's right. Anne's talked about that
Tabletop
before.
role-playing game.
I
There
am
we
a
go.
big proponent of tabletop role-playing games. I've played DC. Actually, I'm looking at getting a DC role-playing game going. The old D10 system. Anyway, big proponent of that stuff. I love going to conventions like Gen Con, Star Wars Celebration, Comic-Con, or it's like an orgy, because when you get there, everybody's happy and having a good time. That's one of the great things. I've often told people when I go to San Diego, it's for Comic-Con. I've gone to Comic-Cons where I've never even gone in the convention center
What happens when they leave?
because when I get there in San Diego, I tell people it's just good for the soul, because you're surrounded by tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people that are happy and having fun and enjoying themselves and celebrating and walking down the sidewalk, see somebody in a cosplay, and you know that person put probably like 60 hours of work in that cosplay, and high-fiving each other, just total strangers. You go to events like that, to me, it's just good for your heart. It's just good for your soul. And I love stuff like that. I think it's wonderful. So I hope you have a great time, man. 57-year-old kid or not. All right, what's next?
From Eric, Mr. Rare Air. Everybody talks bad about DC, but they have been the best comic book. They had the best comic book movie of 2022, The Batman.
They absolutely did.
Absolutely true.
And in my opinion, the second best movie of the year so far, only behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. And again, that's why when somebody asks, do they just need to scrap everything? Maybe that's a plausible strategy, but I believe there's enough pieces there that you can just reconstruct.
And I also think, look, Black Adam, I don't quite know what to make of it, but the Shazam trailer I loved.
I really
the
like the
gods.
Shazam trailer.
And we've got, Aquaman's coming out. I love the first one. So I don't think it's not like it's a total shit show over there.
No, they've definitely got pieces there they can build around. All right, what's next?
From Cody Carroll. Do you think Goldie survived the ending in Free Guy?
Was that the clone?
The goldfish.
Oh, that was the goldfish. Oh, what was the name of the clone? The Ryan Reynolds clone. in it.
Cloney.
Wasn't it just like, it was some
It was something like that. It was
some dumb name.
Yeah, it was something like clone. I can't.
catchphrase.
I cannot remember. I don't.
Cloney.
Man, that movie's good. I love
It is
Free
a good
Guy.
movie.
It's so good.
And the more I watch it, every time I watch it, I enjoy it even more. It's a delightful little
It's really
movie.
clever.
All right, what's next?
From Trevor, hey everyone, I finally got to finish Light and Magic last night.
Nice.
It may be my favorite thing I've watched this year, even with all the other great movies and TV shows to come out.
Yep.
I am only 2 episodes in, but I actually have a little bit of free time tonight. Ann and I have a TV like this one here. We can go to the White Shower side. We've got a TV like this one, not quite as big as this one, on a rolling stand, right? So sometimes she'll bring a bottle of wine, I'll get some Diet Pepsi or some Zevia, and we'll just go sit in the hot tub and we'll just, with an extension cord, we'll just roll the TV out. We'll sit in the hot tub and watch TV out in the backyard. I think I'm going to do a little bit of that tonight and watch the rest of Light and Magic, because the first 2 episodes
So
were
good.
fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, which fictional family would you hang out with for a day if you could? Khan family, Barton family, or Shazam family? If anything ever happens to Kamala's dad, that would break me.
I thought you
Khan
meant
family.
as in Khan Union Singh.
That's what I thought too.
Like, what? Wait, why is that one on this? Oh, bring up the list again then. Okay, so Ms. Marvel's family,
Yeah.
the Bard family's great. The Shazam. Damn
Yours
it.
is the superior.
That's a collection of loveliness right there.
I would do Shazam. Shazam fam.
Ms. Marvel's fam.
I might go with the Ms. Marvel family.
Love the Khans.
But all 3 of those are delightful choices.
Good. I didn't want you guys coming to my family anyway.
All right, what's next?
From J Master, the cast, crew, and director of DC's Blue Beetle yesterday starting giving a like and tweet many fans with the hashtag Save Blue Beetle, even though it is going to theaters.
Yeah, again,
right.
I do not know. Make sure you understand this. I'm not saying we know this. I'm just saying that I myself, as an observer and as an analyst, look at this and say, well, you know what? With the move to take Blue Beetle and say, we are putting this in theaters, to me, that is a huge vote of confidence.
Yeah.
When you look at what they're doing with Batgirl saying, this is crap, we are not putting this out. And this one, you ain't putting this on HBO Max. That's going to theaters, son. Like, to me, I that makes me feel, although tomorrow they may announce they're canceling it. I'm just saying, but it makes me believe and feel, at least for now, that Blue Beetle is on very safe ground. I don't think anything's happening to Blue Beetle at all.
I agree. I think you're right.
All right, what's next?
From Hero75, my friends and I got into a rather heated debate. Would it be appropriate if members of the Avengers made a cameo during T'Challa's funeral? Would it be appropriate or take it away from the scene?
Oh, I don't see how it would take away from the scene.
No, I think it'd be poignant.
I mean, do they need to do it? No, but would it somehow detract from the scene? I don't think so. Like when a head of government dies and other foreign dignitaries and heads of government show up, does that take away from the funeral?
Yeah, we're not like, man, that prime minister is such a douche
For
showing up here.
making it about them. No,
I could absolutely see Bucky there. It would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bucky is the one character that I will feel it's a little awkward if he's not there. Like
Yeah.
if none of the other ones are there, that's fine. That's fine. But if they are there, I don't think it takes anything away.
No, I think it'd actually be cool if they
Yeah,
were there.
I agree. All right, anyway, what's next?
From Dat Dude Jake C. I'm surprised WB even came out with a statement this quickly regarding Batgirl, considering they still haven't said anything regarding Ezra Miller. You and me both, Jake C.
Well, here's the thing. With the Ezra Miller thing, they can't comment on something they haven't done. They've done nothing about. With the Batgirl thing, they actually did a thing, so they need to release
They
a
made a
statement.
movie.
And by the way, I love their statement. Let me just bring up their statement one more time. The statement reads, "The decision to not release Batgirl reflects our leadership's strategic shift as it relates to the DC Universe and HBO Max. In other words, we ain't releasing crap anymore. And we're not dumping these valuable, iconic DC characters on a streaming service. These things are theatrical. These things deserve the respect that they're going to get. And our fans deserve to be respected enough that we are going to do everything we can in our power to make sure we are presenting them with good product. And we're going to fail sometimes. They're going to fail sometimes. But if you know you got shit on the platter, throw it out. Don't go put it on the dinner table." Anyway, just my thought. All right, what's next?
That's what my mom told me.
Raymond Murata, Brokeback Roadhouse. You can't quit this. Surprise, surprise, motherfucker. The king is back.
You know what? I would go see a gay Roadhouse. I'd be into that if we got Ong Lee directing.
I don't think that's what the reference to, was it?
What was
No,
the
I
part?
Yeah,
can't-
Brokeback
I
Roadhouse.
can't quit
Yeah,
you.
I can't
Yeah.
quit you.
No, but what was the other
Roadhouse.
part? The king is back.
Oh no, that's what Conor McGregor.
That's Conor McGregor.
thing.
Oh,
The king is
surprise,
back.
surprise.
Conor
That's
McGregor.
what he was saying. Brokeback Roadhouse, because Jake Gyllenhaal was in Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, that's right, Jake. Okay, I get
But
the
now,
connection,
listen,
yes.
the only way it could be even better than that, Taylor Swift co-stars.
What?
Come
Yeah.
on now.
You lost me. Oh, you lost me. there.
Well, it's a Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal thing. It's okay. Viewers
Listen,
got it. I know
yeah.
you did.
Yeah, no.
Come on
I
now.
know. You
Swifties?
lost me there still. All right, what's next?
Did you
From
get it, viewers?
Jonathan Bagoa.
Swiftish.
Do you think that part of the reason is they're not replacing Michael Keaton as the main Batman in The Flash anymore? And now it makes no sense to have him in the Batgirl movie?
No, I 1000% guarantee you this has nothing to do with Michael Keaton. Positively or negatively. This has nothing to do with
Don't you
Keaton.
feel bad? I mean, between The Flash and Batgirl, Michael Keaton. Somebody owes him a movie. You know what that movie can be, John?
Well, in Aquaman, they
Batman Beyond.
they
Yeah.
took
Batman Beyond.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, that ain't happening. So, I mean, remember, he's still in The Flash. I mean, listen, I'm telling you, unless something drastic changes, that movie's going to hit theaters. He's going to.
Do you know he's in The Flash,
Aquaman
though?
thing.
Do we know that The Flash even is real?
Well,
Yeah.
we
Do
did
we?
see footage at Comic-Con.
That's true.
We saw significant footage at Comic-Con with a lot of Michael Keaton.
But I think the possibility of a Batman Beyond movie has just gone up a little bit.
Oh, I think if anything, it's gone down.
A little bit.
But we'll see.
I'm going to
Give
bring
us
my
old
Batman.
man
By the way, how
Ian.
great was it seeing Michael Keaton in a Batman outfit on screen saying, "You want to get nuts?
Dude,
Let's get nuts."
so
Older,
and,
grizzled Michael Keaton.
You wanna
and
get
the
beyond?
reveal of the Batmobile when they pulled
Yeah,
it.
the Batmobile was pretty
Come
cool.
on.
All right, what's next?
From Kiwi. Happy late B-Day to Mr. Pleasures himself. That's Chef Pleasures. Only he can make bacon lit and fish wet. Also, keep using dish soap for the face, Mr. Duke of Excellence. Please don't.
Wow.
Listen, it's
Jesus.
hard to listen. As ridiculous as it sounds, let's see Ray there again. Look at that complexion.
I mean, yeah.
That is some delightful.
He's got beautiful baby
I mean,
skin.
maybe we should all be looking into some
I'm all
dish soap
cheek,
for our
baby.
face. look at that. look at how
Yeah.
smooth them pores are.
There's so much cheek. There's a joke. There's a punchline there, but I can't think of one yet.
Get on in on that.
So
All
much
right.
cheek, baby.
What's next?
From Banjo Wielding Velociraptor. My Latin family.
Oh,
and I-
send in like $20.
Oh,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Banjo,
Okay.
so much.
Or in your language. All right. My Latin family and I were really excited for Batgirl and Supergirl, but it looks like Zaslav is looking to scrap all of them. Now we feel robbed of making our own judgment because rich, out-of-touch dudes deemed it bad.
Listen, it's so easy to play armchair quarterback when they put out crap. Everybody loses sight of this. The reason there is a right or wrong, fair or unfair, the reason there's a general public perception that the DC content is second class to the Marvel content is because they have not had more strict quality control, stricter standards, and a guiding philosophy of we need to make these characters and this content a priority and respect our fans like a chef Pleasures would respect his customers to only put the best food in front of them, to respect the fan base that says they deserve the best we can do. And if they have something that is not that they don't feel is the best they can do, then I would say this: as big of a fan of Leslie Grace as I am, I
And you have
freaked
been.
out.
You've
I
always been.
freaked out when they announced that she was going to be Batgirl. Like In the Heights was one of the big surprise movies to me. She's amazing in that. But I will tell you what, as a fan of Leslie Grace, if this movie is as bad as they're saying it is, if, that's a big if, I haven't seen the movie, then for her career and her sake, I don't want this movie coming out. Because a horrible movie like this could really hurt her career. And again, I'm speaking in theoreticals here, but for her sake, I'd be like, man, if it's bad, I want to see the next movie she's in to be something that's going to propel her career, not hurt her career.
John, I mean, I think that's a really, really salient point. Alden Ehrenreich, great actor. I mean,
Look what
you
happened to
know,
his career after Solo.
Yeah, and I mean, he was good in Solo, and I liked Solo. Where is his career now?
You're only as good as your last project.
That's
you know,
right.
goes the saying.
He's going to be an
so-
Ironheart.
And
But
let's
now,
face it,
thankfully, Disney's recognized that he was really good in Solo, and it having the financial problems it did was not his fault.
Hail
But again,
Caesar. He was
I
great in Hail
don't. I
Caesar.
loved him in Hail Caesar.
So good.
I don't want to see that same thing happen to Leslie Grace.
And she's gonna have no problem getting another role in some other big movie.
And
She's
maybe
got
they'll-
star power right
Maybe
now.
they'll
hope
create
not.
a different Batgirl at some point down the line. No,
Hey, who's not to say that 2 years from now they say they don't greenlight another go at it with a totally different script and decide something else? I mean, we just don't know. All right, listen, we're running behind, so we're going to have to fly through the next couple ones we have here. What's next?
Aaron Buckshire. Love you guys. Keep up the good work, whole
Thank
crew.
you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Jamie Sundays with an almost $20 super chat.
Thank you, Jamie.
Zaz has made it clear he wants Oscar contending films for the DCEU. Earlier reports suggested he wants creators like Todd Phillips and Reeves to run the show of DCU. No one's going to be laughing at WB in the next 2 years.
Again, if you want to make tangible, real change happen, it means you have to make some big changes right now. You have to make some big decisions right now. You can't just say, let's just put this one out and we'll work on it tomorrow. No, if this movie's that bad, if it's going to cost you more money, if it's going to hurt your overall brand, just slash it off. Slash it off and move on. Take the tax write-off, move on, and start doing things differently. That's my thought at any rate. So we'll see. And yes, listen, they got a little taste of that. Joker got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Its lead actor won the best. Joaquin Phoenix won best actor
On
at
a
the Academy Awards.
$65 million spend, which was $30 million or $25 million less than the reported cost of Batgirl.
I mean, they've gotten that taste of what they can be. And so we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
From Mr. Taco About It. Mr. Talk About It. Well done. Would you rather fist fight a chicken or a monkey? Oh, a chicken. They don't have fists.
yeah, chickens don't have no fists.
But if you watch Family Guy, the chicken fights are some of the most iconic stuff Family Guy has ever done. I mean, that could be a problem. So I'll go with the
Yeah.
monkey.
My husband is terrified of birds. If I have the option of taking out one of those vicious killing machines, I'm doing it for you, Logan.
A lot of people don't
How come
realize
he's scared
chickens
of
are
birds?
predators.
Oh,
They
I
are.
watched
Yep.
Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and then it was a
Yeah.
bad one.
All right, what's next?
From Sean Nicholson. What happened to Movie Club?
We announced that we're probably going to move it to about once a month. We were going to do one this Tuesday, but honestly, the schedule around here just got too busy. So it'll come back in the next week or two, probably this coming Tuesday. So, then it'll be about once a month that it happens. All right, what's next?
From Mike Joyce. Finally caught up on What We Do in the Shadows. The Familiar Fight Club was the hardest I laughed in a long time. That announcer was great.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm not caught up. I've only seen the first 3 episodes.
You're going to love it. It's
Dude.
ridiculous.
The first 3 episodes were so good. I love this show so much. It's so great. I can't wait. That's another thing I'll have to watch from the hot tub tonight. Pop that one in.
This is a very you episode. That announcer, you're going to love him.
All
Yeah,
right,
you
looking
really
forward
are.
to it. All right, what's next?
From Jake Vidmar. Wasn't excited for Andor because of the most recent Disney Plus Star Wars shows and wasn't too fond of Rogue One either.
Ah.
But wow, the trailers have been amazing so far. Really rooting for this one.
Yeah, I will admit I am a big Rogue One guy. I think Rogue One is the second best Disney era Star Wars
I
movie
love Rogue
behind
One.
The Force Awakens. Because I love The Force Awakens, but I think Rogue One is my second favorite one of that. But it's good to hear. You're right. The Star Wars stuff is the last 2 not terrific, but let's see. Andor looks fantastic. Let's hope it's as good as it looks. All right, what's next?
From Really Not That Funny. Hey, Rob, I would love to see the John Campea Show tour like a rock band, as long as you make a stop in London, Ontario.
Ontario, Canada, which is just like 45 minutes outside of my hometown of Hamilton.
We're trying. We're trying.
We're
to
trying.
come.
We're working on it.
afternoon delight.
We can't give details right now, but we are in preliminary discussions about maybe taking the show on the road.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, but we'll give you more information when we have more to go. But I love London. My dad was a buddy of the owner of the London Knights, and he also owned the London Arena. And so when the WWE would come to town, my dad would be able to take me and my siblings, and we'd go and got to meet the Undertaker and Coco Beware. Again, I was a kid, so but good stuff. I love London. All right, good university town too. All right, what's next?
From Raymond Villarda. Only Pelosi can go to Taiwan. Updated spot quote.
Is that like where
Only
no man
Nixon can
has
go to
gone
China.
before or
That was from
something?
Star Trek 6.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Discovery Country.
right.
Politic.
That's a good deep cut. Good deep cut. All right, what's next?
Cuts like a knife. Oh,
From Super Crazy Movie Geek. Do you think WB will make Joker 2 or the Batman 2?
They're doing both.
Yeah.
It's official. They are
Yes.
doing both.
The answer
And they're
is
both
yes.
official.
And both are musicals now. So weird.
That's, by the way, that is not true. Don't read. The John Campea Show said that. No. All right, what's next?
From Garrett, Andor is the Star Wars I've been looking for. I totally love the gritty milieu.
Again, listen, and we love the Andor trailer around here, but let's not lose sight that we have seen many great trailers to very bad movies and shows. So we'll just limit ourselves. We'll keep it real and just acknowledge that the trailers are awesome. Here's hoping that the shows live up to it because the trailers are making some big promises. All right, what's next?
From Booby Fart.
Nice.
Howdy, y'all.
Hate it when that happens.
Question for Ray. Do you play Rocket League? And if so, we should game sometime.
Oh, he does play Rocket League.
I
He's
do play
always
Rocket
playing
League.
freaking Rocket
I play
League.
the Fennec, and I really suck, but I talk a lot of trash. Like, it's different from what you see on the screen. So that's it. Yeah, we should play.
All right, what's next?
From
we do
Anubis,
that
I think
one?
we already did that. Mark Hansen, we
did.
already did that.
Yeah.
Buck O, how about putting Batgirl on the CW?
Again,
Well,
if the
that's-
basic underlying premise, number one, it would make them no money. Oh, well, no, you get some ad revenue from it, I guess. But again, the basic premise is this movie hurts the perception that the public will have of the quality of our content. So we don't want it to see the light of day. So it's like you, like, right? You go through your camera roll on your phone and say, I feel like posting a cute selfie on my Twitters. All right. I don't know who talks like that. So you go through and there's a really bad picture of you. Are you going to put that one out in the public for everybody to see
Do
on your
it,
social
John.
media? No, people don't. Or you're gonna Photoshop it and do everything that you can to take it. But no, you're not going to put that out. You do not put out stuff that makes you look bad to the public. And if they believe this movie's going to do that, then they don't want it to be on CW, HBO, Crackle, Roku, whatever. They don't want it out there.
I want to make a Alicia Silverstone clueless joke about Batgirl, but I'll refrain.
What would the joke be?
Well, I don't know because she was in Batman and Robin, and they let that out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Different ownership, different era. Oh, my
But
God.
still,
That movie was so bad.
They let the bat nipples out too.
They
Yeah.
did.
She looked good in that suit. I'll tell
She
you that.
did. Of course she did. All right. What's next?
Dad jokes. Batgirl is canceled due to the bad quality of story and costumes, etc. Why do I want to see this even more?
There is it's that
I do too.
You want to see the car crash,
Yes.
right? A little bit.
I was watching dash cam videos with Ray the other day, and I'm like, this is actually very gratifying.
All right, what's next?
From Jay Master. Hey, crew, if you're looking for more of Iman Vellani, Ms. Marvel, and the whole amazing cast, I highly recommend watching Marvel Studios' Assembled The Making of Ms. Marvel, now streaming on Disney+.
I did watch it.
Was it good?
Yeah. She's so adorable. She's everyone's little sister.
Good
I
Canadian
swear.
kid, by the way, Iman Vellani. Here's the thing. After the whatever they called it for the first season of Mandalorian, they did that special making of thing. After I tried watching the WandaVision one, and it was quite poor.
Yeah.
And I kind of gave up on watching there afterwards. I tried also a little bit for Hawkeye one, and was the Hawkeye one or was it? a
Yeah,
different
the
one?
Hawkeye one I
Yeah.
tried watching too. That was it
And it's
started
like,
off
this
boring.
isn't
I
very
didn't finish
good,
it.
so I kind of gave up on it. But Light and Magic is killing it for me. All right, what's next?
From David Deere. Just wanted to thank you guys for all you do. It's been a rough week, but you guys have cheered me up. Love you guys.
Oh, thank you so much, David. Listen, we talked about priorities, right? And one of the priorities I've had, like one of the reasons why we don't do reaction videos and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with the reaction videos. Got a lot of love for the people who do reaction videos. But like one of my guiding principles is that the content we create, we don't always succeed, but we aim for, it has to be informative and entertaining. And if there's some content that we think of that is neither going to be informative or entertaining, then we don't do it. Now, you can say, John, I've seen several of your videos that were neither informative or entertaining. Okay, but that's at least what we're trying to do.
And why is Ray there?
Yeah, it's what we are aiming for.
And they don't cost $90 million.
And not informative or entertaining. It has to be informative and entertaining. So like for us, reaction videos are not informative. So we don't do those. Other people can, and they do them great. Our friends at Real Rejects,
Yeah.
the Day One guys, love what they do. But
Unless it's Aaron responding to a man
well, yes,
blowing up another man from
just
inside
because
his penis.
that was just my own damn curiosity. I wanted to see Aaron's reaction to that. And I wanted the world to see it too.
Everybody should have a reaction video to that.
Everybody should. I want to see that. But yeah, it is what it is. All right, what's next?
From Rhett Proctor. Hi, John. I've been hearing rumors that Discovery Plus was going to take over HBO Max.
They already have.
If that's the case, what will happen to all the legacy content?
Well, again, like I said, from day one of the merger, we talked about on the show ages ago. The question was going to be, What will they do with these two individual streaming services? They have Discovery Plus, they have HBO Max. Are they going to run them as two separate things? Are they going to merge them into one collective content thing? What are they're going to do one of those things. So merging them in together has always been one of the big probabilities that they would do. But what will that look like? I think we're going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah, and you know what else? It would not surprise me. There's been all these rumors running around that HBO is going to go away. It wouldn't surprise me if the name HBO goes away.
Yeah, if the name that's fine. That's just the name.
Yeah, because
so
home
maybe
box
that
office is a vestige of the late 70s, early 80s. You know, it was what it was called, home box office back in the day. Why would you keep that?
My one argument for keeping it,
Because it's great.
if Zaslav asked me my opinion, which he is not, would be that it is a recognized and honored name.
Yeah.
That the name HBO represents the highest of quality, right? So listen, I don't think it's the end of the world if they do away with the name, come up with a different name. That's fine. But if they were to ask me my opinion, I think the right move is to keep the name. But if they don't, they don't. I mean, we'll see.
I mean, only because HBO doesn't necessarily connect with Warner Brothers in the minds of people.
That's true too. Maybe you call it like WB Plus or something
Well,
like that.
Warner Brothers Discovery, just call it that.
Yeah, and that could be possible too. Either way, I don't think it's going to affect the content. But
No.
again, we don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. All right, what's next?
From Anubis Genocide, one of two. With the old WB regimen, the DCU always felt like it was throwing things at the wall to get
Yeah.
things to stick and replicate the success of Marvel. Oh, now it feels like we actually have quality control.
Listen, whenever you have a big shift, it creates people feeling uncomfortable. I mean, Dennis and I used to joke on the set of AMC that when we changed the color of something, and I'm not, this isn't hyperbole, I'm not joking. When we changed the color of something once at AMC, Dennis said to me, "You're going to get a lot of emails. We're going to get a lot of angry emails. But I don't like this change." Because change creates discomfort. And it's true. Change, even physically, change creates discomfort. And I think when you get something like this, when you're taking drastic change and doing big changes, it's going to cause discomfort for a lot of people. The question will be is what comes out on the other side of that? And that is going to be something only time will tell. But I think these are the changes that need to be made. But we'll see, man. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, Nat asking Okoye about the
Okoye.
tremor. Okoye about the tremor. We handled it, but not handling it. By not handling it. Translation: if you don't stop asking about the effing ocean, now we know why.
No, listen,
Something
I'm
on O,
still,
isn't it?
unless we see in Black Panther, they make a direct reference to that line and thing, I am still 100% convinced what the message of Okoye to Black Widow was, it was just what it was. It was an underwater tremor. It had nothing to do, I don't believe it had anything to do with Talocan.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with Talocan, had nothing to do with Namor. It was not connected to that.
It was a celestial turning over in his sleep.
Yeah, that's right. That what Okoye was basically saying, we handled it by not handling it because that was nothing. And because Black Widow was in this paranoid kind of phase that everything is an issue, everything is a world-ending thing, and it really wasn't. So unless they bring it up in Black Panther 2, which I don't suspect they will, but if they do, fine. But unless they do, it was exactly what Okoye said it was. It was nothing. It had nothing to do with
That's how I feel
Namor.
about like in Man of Steel when he's in the ocean and the whales are there like, oh, Aquaman sent him. Aquaman
That's
sent
right.
those
That's
whales.
right. That's the exact same thing,
well,
right?
when we find Arthur,
But he
he doesn't even want to be the king of Atlantis, and he had nothing to do with any of that stuff.
But there were so many people say that was a total reference to Aquaman. Aquaman
Yeah, he was
said
saving
whales.
him. The
It's like,
guy who
why else
doesn't
would
even know
whales
him or
be
care
there?
about him.
I don't know, because whales live in the ocean.
live there. That's their
well,
home.
yeah.
Brain, Black Adam. That's all Black Adam right there.
All right, what's next?
From Ten Riza. Hey guys, love ya. Thoughts on the potential shutdown of HBO Max or merger with Discovery? Thoughts on Vince being out and Triple H, Steph running
Well,
WWE?
we'll take the first question there. Again, the merger of HBO and Discovery Plus has been on the table since day one. I mean, again, ages ago, we made several videos about this, about like, will they keep them separate? What is the advantages of keeping them separate? Will they merge them? What would be the advantages of merging them and coalescing all that content into one? This has always been on the table. So it's just that now we're actually going to find out. To me, it's interesting because you have one of two approaches. One, there's kind of the Disney Hulu approach, where you have two very different types of content, and so you have them on two different streaming services. Okay, yeah, and that kind of works for them. Although even there's been a lot of discussion about maybe Disney, if they buy Comcast out of their existing share, Disney just kind of merging it all under one big Disney Plus umbrella. It's still the same content. It's just now you're merging it. There are advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, there's a huge difference in content between WandaVision and Christina on the Coast, between The Mandalorian and Flip or Flop. There's a big difference between that type of content.
I keep seeing those shows merged together into one.
I really want Jin walking around being like, but where would the kids' room be?
But I mean, hey, have Henry Cavill help, I don't know, Chip and Joanna with their next.
He would install shiplap so well.
Oh my God, he would. Can you see Henry give the
Oh my
Joanna
gosh.
the shiplap? That's her favorite.
She loves shiplap.
She does. It's her favorite.
Henry just needs to do like a PC building channel.
Oh, it would break all the records.
That
I
level
remember
of porn cannot be on the internet.
one of my favorite responses. There's a female journalist at one of the outlets, and when Henry Cavill made that video of him in his tank top building a gaming PC, one of my favorite comments that she wrote in her article was, "I was 5 minutes into this video and I got pregnant." I mean, it was just one of the funniest things I had read. It was pretty much porn for a lot of people. But listen, could you put all that under one umbrella? I guess you could. You could, depending on how you manage it, because there's something to be said with like, hey, the new Discovery Plus WB Max has something for everybody. Everybody should subscribe to it because there's something there for you. I mean, I don't know, but again, I think with the call tomorrow, we're gonna get a lot more information tomorrow. So let's just keep our ears to the ground. All right, what's next?
I just got this vision of like the Ghost with the Righteous Brothers seeing the pottery, but he's making computers.
Look at this NVIDIA 4070, the brand new. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine the frames per second we can make together like little love babies? I mean, that's what I picture Henry Cavill saying. I don't know. All right.
Why isn't he English?
What's
we're
next?
just
Love babies.
we're just ending with some support now from Super Captain Saiyan and Incognito.
All right,
Okay,
guys. Thanks a lot.
I got one last one. Just a comment from Chris Barcenas. He says, "Chris, how dare you for canceling Pokemon?"
I know,
I
Chris.
didn't, though.
Oh, she
I would
did.
Never.
Oh, she's always
I would
talking about
never.
it.
I play Pokemon Snap so regularly.
Is that a game?
Yes.
I thought-
Oh my gosh, it's adorable. You're just going around cataloging Pokemon for science.
I can't cancel Pokemon.
You
It's
made that game
Snorlax
up.
right over there.
Is Pokemon Go still a thing, by the way? Do people still
Yeah.
do that? I remember everybody was obsessed with that.
Yeah, people
were
still
dying.
do it. Yeah.
People are dying.
Walking off cliffs, man.
All right, guys. That'll
catch
do
them
it
all.
for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget, there's a brand new episode of the John Campea Show in the morning. Make sure you come on back and join us for that. While you're at it, click on that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. All that stuff helps out our videos immensely. There is a mailbag coming a little bit later today, so guys, keep your guys' eyes open for that. And for everybody in the room, for myself, Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr, Pokemon Canceller, Ray Aura,
Mr.
and of
Cheeks.
course, producer Jonathan Boyega running the show. My name's John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.